but I could probably do a recap after. I think we were on some sort of ship. I can't remember what. So
Yes.
You were on the Acreon.
Okay, we were on the Acreon. You guys had just finished fighting some goop monsters, and I had awoken from some slumber of something. And we decided for some reason we needed to go down to the asteroid that this ship was attached to. So we went along the tow cables, which seemed like a great idea until we started getting shot at, which sucked. But we made it work, and we made our rocketed past everyone at the speed of light, and soared into the cave systems. And the person that one or two of us shot at, that were shooting at us, left around the side of the asteroid, which we were okay with. And then we started to explore the asteroid, and we encountered some space zombies and a space wraith, and all of it was terrifying. All of it was going to kill us. It's horrible. We fought them, and it was pretty sucky, because most of us couldn't hit the ghost. The zombies were okay, but I mean, zombies always are. We carried on until we discovered a war bot in a really futuristic-y super technology place of unknown origin. And the robot was totally not cool with us being in its corridors, and we had to destroy it. We destroyed it, and as adventurers do, we went and explored a bit more. Found a cupboard where there was a dead lady inside. I forget her name. I feel like it should be important because
Mariko Nash.
Mariko Nash, that's the one. And she had been dead a while, and from what we gathered, she had hid in this cupboard. And the robot was kind of outside, and she just kind of wasted away over time, and it was kind of sad. But in her final breath, she was like, she said that whoever would find this can have her ship, the Sunrise Maiden, and that intrigued all of us. So as we were about to set off, we heard our little comm unit that Teslas had set out crackle to life, and we started talking to whoever was on the other end. And the person was some sort of bounty hunter out for all of us, and that wasn't cool. But she pretty much said that they needed our help to escape, because there's a horrible demon thing on the way to the exit, basically. So we were like, okay, cool. We went to go meet her and realized, oh shit, it's Tellus 4. Tellus 7's long lost horror sister.
Horror sister.
Yep. So we we endeavored to try and get along until we can get away from all of this hell. We had a big old fight. It was hell, as always. But we persevered, as we always do. Then we went through the door that the creature was guarding, and we discovered the Sunrise Maiden. We were very happy that nothing was trying to eat us as we boarded the ship. And here we are, in a ship with Tellus 4, very wounded, in a ship labeled by yours truly.
We do still have some business to attend to before we disembark. However, there are some affairs we left behind, and it doesn't seem like we resolved everything on the asteroid. We haven't checked every nook and cranny, like, so we don't even know, like, whether we've solved the mystery of, like, who this thing should go to. Although, if what we learned from Telos 4 is true, which we don't know, both parties hired her to kill us. By both parties, I mean Astral Extractions and Hardscrabble Collective, the two folks interested in the fate of the Acreon. And the Drift Rock.
Yeah, I imagine I missed quite a few details. But...
Yeah, also worth noting that while the Sunrise Maiden is in good condition, considering it's been sitting here for at least 7 decades, it's not exactly in a flying condition quite yet. A cursory glance will tell you that it shouldn't take too many repairs, but you're probably still stuck here for half a day or so.
Oh, that sucks, but alright, sure. So, guess we get to work fixing the old girl.
Well,
getting to know her.
We do have more than that to do. Just without being able to look at the map right now, the Astra, I know at the very least that we didn't search like this hangar area where they're hung out.
That's true.
Like, we need to like make sure that all the nooks and crannies on this drift rock don't contain like any other like logs or what have you. We of course need to go back onto the Acreon proper and retrieve the package for the Eoxian ambassador, which we could probably better achieve by, once you're able to repair this vessel, docking with the Acreon and pulling it that way instead of hauling it across the massive cable.
Yeah.
Seems a bit riskier.
Yeah. I think I agree with you there.
It bounces off into space somehow.
Those were the main things, hopefully just by checking those avenues. Like, if we don't pick up on something, hopefully that the observer bot picks up on something the ambassador needs to know.
Yeah, I mean, when we first went into the asteroid, there was like a left and a right, and we only experienced the left-hand side.
From what we know, which we'll be able to check and confirm, the road not taken led to Telos 4's crashed vessel after a fight with space goblins. Yes.
Everyone's dying. Horrible.
Not everyone.
No.
Victor and Madar have been afflicted with void death. And the longer they spend here without proper access to medical facilities, the more likely they may be to perish.
Also have some strength damage currently.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so the quicker we leave, the better, because you only have like 3 days or something. And if it's going to take us half a day just to get this ship up and running, doesn't really leave you guys much time.
It won't take longer than, like, if the ship is functioning properly, we'll only need like a few hours to make it back to Absalom Station. What will be important is that the ship does actually run properly, because if we try to leave a quarantine zone and the quarantine vessel breaks down in the quarantine zone, no one's safe.
Yeah.
As proven, security ditched us.
Well, yeah.
This is true.
That would be our plan of action. Who would like to, I suppose, stay and begin working on the Sunrise Maiden while others continue the search?
Well, I've got okay engineering. I think Telos has pretty good engineering, if I remember right.
We've got an engineering toolkit in the bag. If you need
I
it.
do too.
Okay, well, I guess I'll leave it there.
Bought my own.
I could certainly attempt to look over the ship, yes.
In that case, Thaddeus and Telos, being the most ship-inclined, seem the best to like watch each other's backs and do something with that. Maybe Telos 4 can keep you company, considering her current condition. I don't think she'd want to move anymore anyway.
Maybe we'll keep her. She will keep company in like a room that we lock the door once she's in, you know. And then have like the corridor between the bridge and the engine room open so we can see each other, you know, as we work. And like shout down the corridor. Is it working now?
Victor certainly wouldn't like if suddenly she shot both of you and flew away and left him on this rock with void death. That doesn't.
Hey,
that's not.
If there's anyone you could be left on this rock with void death with, it will be the person who diagnosed the void death.
We lock her in one of the rooms, Sheep. I'm sure
Which
she.
one?
Yes.
The amusement room.
No. She can get one of the bathrooms.
All right. You'll take this one.
Excellent.
I'm sure, as part of hailing from the death womb that all the Telos cluster has hailed from, as Halldamir described in canonically, she's been through worse than a bathroom.
She can hang out in the bathroom. She has showers and toilets. It's great.
Which leaves Tacitus, a slightly weakened Victor, and Madar to poke around the rest of the ship. I mean, two of them already have void death anyway, so I mean,
That's the worst that can happen.
other than
Exactly.
Super void death. I mean,
Does void death stack?
No, it was conclusively proven that it can. Once you've already got it, you already got it.
If you get it twice, it'll be the Voider Death.
Wow.
that's very German.
Anyways, I've made the Actrion map available for you again. Sort of revealed the areas you have explored, which I can confirm are pretty much all the areas. There are maybe some nooks and crannies not on this map, but they also don't contain anything of interest. The hangar area itself is fairly vast and equally empty.
As long as Sheep described it, it seems that wasn't it that you that said that it would have had to have been you, right? Like last session, that Paizo just gave you like those several squares. That was it.
It's like an entire ship is in this area, which is like 10 squares. And I'm like, wow, what?
Wow. Yeah.
Well, from what Telos 4 said, that creature, whatever the hell it was, it might have had a name tag of, but none of us would have ever known that, hung around here. So this seems like a good enough place to like search this hangar. Maybe it has like, I don't know whether it could breed. That's a terrifying thought. Let's find some shit here in this hangar.
Horrible void egg.
Alright. We're going to do this a bit more abstract since you've already walked to every place. Searching the hangar... Sorry?
I was saying, hopefully just like the bright lights can like be turned on for like the hangar from like the sunrise made itself to... That was the wrong switch! Sorry.
Blows up the wall. Accidentally.
I won't interrupt.
Well, power on the Sunrise Maiden certainly works occasionally, sometimes. There's little sparks coming from places they shouldn't.
That's a real selling one. We're gonna fly on this thing.
Hey, she's beautiful, alright? You leave her alone.
All things considered, repairing the Sunrise Maiden is far easier than building a new ship from scratch.
Oh, yeah.
With only the tools we have available on the asteroid.
Anyway, my
That's
apologies
surely
for
worth it.
interrupting, God.
Yeah, if you want to search the hangar area specifically, give me a perception check. Though, does investigation exist? I keep confusing additions.
It does not.
It does not, no.
No, then it is perception.
Is this something we can take 20 on, assuming that we aren't, like, further interrupted? Like we're gonna spend enough time. Like, if ship is gonna take half a day to fix.
Sure. If you want to take 20 and really look into every like corner of the natural formations here, I'll probably take it like an hour or two. It's a fairly big area.
Yeah, we got.
Being really thorough.
Yeah, fuck it.
If we literally have to wait anyway, besides, it gives us some time to get like more comfortable because we don't know whether there's any of those other creatures that might come after us.
Yeah, I mean, what else are we gonna do? Victor's not gonna stick his fingers in his ship engine.
In that case, I probably don't have the highest perception modifier among the three of us. Please be
I have
honest.
0.
Mine is
So,
6, so I would have a 26.
Rada's the one doing it.
All right. Looking around, you mostly find, nothing really. The natural formation of the cave here. Though at its basically mouth, where it opens up to the void, you do find some technological bits, non-functional unfortunately, but of the same design as you found before. It looks like this open area was perhaps covered by some sort of holographic projection before hiding it. But that, of course, is broken down. You can maybe salvage some of the scrap, but it would be a handful of UPBs at best.
This metal seemed to be made of some really sturdy stuff whenever you described the walls last session, right, God?
Yes, you would basically break the rock around the metal rather than the other way around.
I don't think I could make food out of that. Sure. I think I'll leave
Actually,
alone.
he doesn't have anything. And these two companies that are going to vie for getting this rock, they did both hire that assassin to kill us. So he doesn't actually feel that bad about prying whatever he...
I actually think this would be a pretty cool demonstration. I presume the robot is following us instead of Thaddeus and Delos 7?
Yes. It will always be where it's most interesting.
In that case, yeah, this seems like pretty interesting if, Tassos, actually, grabs the drone and points it towards, Big Red as he, goes to clutch the rock to show off the strength of this.
Although, before you do that, Victor, would you like to give me an intelligence check?
Sure.
That's a mean way of phrasing it. Would you like to?
Would the other two of you who are witnessing this act like to give me an intelligence check?
Sure.
That was perfectly average.
10.
Well, at least Tessalus might think that this would sort of go against the contract you have with Ambassador Noor, because you would literally be breaking the rock apart to get something, whereas your rights of first salvage really only apply to detachable things. And with the drone recording that you are in fact doing it, I mean, probably going to be fine because it's not that expensive, but it probably wouldn't look good either.
Yeah. So as Tassless is steering the robot to look at Big Red, he does say over there telepathically, he'll say, Victor, the ambassador said we had the right of first salvage. If we break this and this turns out to be worth an incredible amount of credits, we could be fined for this. They could pursue legal action.
That sounds like something Victor's manager would say. Legal action's always been a key word. He'll instead tap around, knock a bit, see if anything is loose enough that it's sort of, if there's any detachable parts. If not, just leave it alone.
Technically qualifies.
If I hit it and it falls off, then it must count.
Check out what it is.
I think if anything, Victor at least tapping it a few times will show to the viewers at home how strong this is. That it doesn't just immediately fall off when the Red Death taps it. Red Terror, excuse me.
Instantly.
Red Death is not a bad name.
There we go.
Then again, he's looking for something more face style.
Yes. Mm-hmm. The Red Joy.
Oh, goodness.
Bring joy to you and your family.
Give me a D20, Victor.
Sure.
Sunday.
You find 8 gold pieces worth of metal samples.
8 credits.
Wow, I bet those are worth way more now in this credit economy.
They use credits because they found 2 meteorites made of gold, and it's useless now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Gold's and everything.
I'll add those to the pile. Excellent.
8 credits. You have added an extra layer of math for yourself.
Yeah.
Right. So then, continuing along with Madar's incredible eyesight,
Yeah. What does my brand see today?
Unless that was the only thing of note in the hangar.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hangar, I mean, you find maybe some signs on the floor that a long, long time ago other spaceships might have landed here and left their marks, but nothing of value or of other interest.
So there's no indication of where that creature that passed through the wall, like, whether it may have resided here?
Not in this hangar, no.
Well, I don't know whether to be, like, jubilant or worried about that. Like, if it can pass through, like, walls...
There could technically be a nest of them in some closed-in area.
In one of the walls.
Like, we literally...
those guys who come to take this, they can have that, honestly. That would not...
Yep.
Take that joy.
Plus, we do have plausible deniability, right? Like, if they come and start mining this and a bunch of them come out of the walls and start attacking everyone, we can just say, look, you saw the video.
Yeah.
Plausible deniability might look bad, though. Like, if with something like that, though, I guess we can try checking through the rest of the asteroid again. I'd hate to have to walk on, like, the outside of it, though. Yeah. Particularly since we don't have, like, any sort of magnetic capability to adhere us to the asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Maybe we're lucky and it doesn't have one of those things. No nest.
Could just be another space ghost of some kind,
This one's friendly.
Yes.
Friendly space.
I like that we're already so jaded that we're like, oh, it's just a space ghost of some kind.
No problems.
Yeah. Greetings!
Tasselus feels a bit better about killing space ghosts than he does, like, other creatures, but it's still not what he signed up for.
I mean, we're here. Let's see if we can find something cool in this, like, technological space.
Alright. I guess we'll slowly go back through the asteroid, making sure that these two paths that were, like, aligned here to, like, the south, effectively, did terminate off, as was suggested to us, like, to the outside of the asteroid.
Yeah,
go ahead.
They are definitely... They just lead into open space. And at the end, it almost looks like they were cleanly sheared off at some point.
As if
like, they are not supposed to end in open space.
Yeah. And... as where Manikai already moved Victor to confirm what Telos 4 told us, and that all there is left in the asteroid is like the crash remnants of her vessel.
Yeah, it's a big mess. There is one thing that seems to once have been some sort of fighter craft, completely entangled with just a bunch of scrap, which at one point might have been called a ship by goblins.
Anything salvageable?
Not really.
Yeah. It is a testament, perhaps, to the space goblins, that they both crashed in the same locale, and those space goblins scurried away. 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. Very, non-deadly crashings into an asteroid.
Mm-hmm.
Made of
Maybe there were like 15 space goblins, only 3 left.
Are there
that was it.
Suspicious green splats anywhere in this room that indicate more goblins?
Maybe on the outside of the asteroid.
Oh.
They all ejected from the ship, but they'll account for the maintaining acceleration.
Yeah, and they don't have escape pods or anything, so they really just kind of found a crevice and jumped out.
Just a rain of... Yeah. I was thinking about this area in here. I mean, again, most of this is like old technology and such. I don't really know, but if there's any bits and stuff laying about, I don't even know what would be valuable there.
I think, like, in order for us, like, we would basically have to take, like, space crowbars and, like, rip that stuff out of the walls. Yeah.
Which is definitely not for salvage.
I should know, some sort of disc or...
That and the fact that, like, considering, like, the inherent value of this, like, we would probably end up angering, like, everyone. Like, how dare you desecrate this thing that no one has ever seen before?
How dare you send assassins?
But I wanted the screen
that's
for my
that
new
conversation.
flat screen.
They were like, it's standard corporal corp. You should be insulted if he didn't try to kill you.
You should have read the fine print.
That argument comes from Astral Extractions and Hardscrabble Collective, Jonas, but what ends up happening is that everyone, even like the Starfinders, are like, no! This treasure trove of secrets from beyond the stars, yes. And we're like, fuck me.
Maybe they should have gone on here.
Yeah.
That's the reason
If
they
we
sent
want
us.
to fight the Space Ghost, we can go back and redo it. We'll be the Space Ghost this time.
We tried.
I'll go die in that little chamber right now.
Alright,
some Black Mirror shit going on right here.
So back to focusing then, that it seems that the asteroid, like, none of those other, like, entities that we destroyed have moved. So that's good. I suppose then that we would spend our time, hauling that, what's left of that robot that no one was familiar with to the Sunrise Maiden.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite the heavy thing. Will take you some amount of pulling.
Is there like a space dolly on like the Sunrise Maiden to like expedite this process? Hauling?
Sure.
Isn't it also like this place doesn't have gravity, right?
This place does.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like all of the metallic part where
It's like
this,
stuck to
this
the
damn
floor
thing
with
is.
magnetic boots. It's a hassle.
Like it still takes its time anyway, but if it's going to take the two of them a half day, and I figure we can wait. I figure we can wait to like check on the Acreon and get the package until they fix up the Sunrise Maiden to go dock over there, because I don't want to haul that package over the cable.
No, who knows what's in there? It's probably fragile.
It's probably like Eoxian bone worm crisps, the most delicious delicacy this side of the whatever.
I wouldn't be worried about its fragility so much as letting it tumble out into open space. Like,
Yeah,
Nice
like
embarrassing pictures. No.
someone's third arm slips and suddenly it's gone.
Son of a bitch.
Maybe that's
I
what's
wonder
in
who that
the it's the package for the ambassador. It's his old timey French cards,
My grandmother. She was taking the cheap way to get here.
It's actually his grandmother that's in there.
Oh boy!
Open it up and she pokes her head out and she's like, "Oh, thank you."
It's like the Thing from the Addams Family.
Well, then, in short, God, that's what we do until we get further report about the vessel.
All right, let's look at the vessel then, shall we? A cursory glance, as I've mentioned before, indicates that there's quite a few things wrong with the Sunrise Maiden, all of which are caused by just decades of lack of maintenance and corrosion, even in a almost vacuum environment, because there's no atmosphere inside currently. Things do eventually start to deteriorate. Luckily, however, the Sunrise Maiden did carry replacement parts, and even if those are a little bit corroded, they're at least less bad than what's currently installed. Depending on what you are planning to fix, that will require a skill check. The computers in the front are currently a bit fizzled and hard to use, mostly because the power isn't on, or properly anyways. The power itself, there's probably something wrong with the reactor. That would take engineering. Computers, obviously computer. And there are some miscellaneous bits and bobs, like some of the loading doors have deformed themselves to basically open a crack. And even if that's not entirely necessary to fix right now, because you could just keep wearing your spacesuits or just be androids, you could spend the time to fix it and not have to pay a mechanic later.
Well, the main thing to fix is to make the ship flyable.
Yes,
Everything
that would
else is
definitely
secondary.
require fixing the reactor, which would need, first of all, a perception check, and then an engineering check.
Can Tilos just take 10 on the perception check just to look it over? He's in no hurry, really, so...
For the perception check, yes. For the engineering check, no.
18 then for the perception.
Yeah, 18. You look around the reactor. The design probably not familiar to either Talos or Fedit. Really, it's a bit of an older design, obviously. and popping open a hatch to the lower part of the reactor probably sort of indicates what might be wrong with it. Because while there's no atmosphere and you can't really smell anything, you see like a bunch of guts and other refuse nicely piled up against the still glowing radioactive core of the reactor. And presumably the reactor didn't quite like that.
What? Are they trying to cook it? Like, what is this? Well,
don't question it, just get cleaning.
It looks like it was a warm spot, and whatever thing lived here liked warm spots and made a nest out of entrails.
Great!
And other things.
Wonderful! Let's remove
Alright, I'll
that.
let you take that out.
Excuse me.
You're the android, you don't have nerves.
Thaddeus kind of counters like, you can shut down your olfactory senses.
I gotta smell this on me later, god damn it.
Yes, I am weeping for you as he like piles on rotting intestines on Thaddeus.
I suppose I would query, like, although my character's not there, would Telos know, like, whether any of them were fresh?
That would be a medicine check.
Sure, I can medicine.
Oh god.
Solid 10.
Well, they don't look as if they were like 8 decades old, but the exact time frame is very hard to tell, considering the whole vacuum thing and whatnot.
Yeah, just clean it up. It's like Viscera cleanup detail style, just buckets and just put everything in.
I suppose if there's any positive thing, it's not our entrails that's there.
Yep.
Let's pile that up, take it to the compactor, whatever we use, and...
I'm just gonna put it on the asteroid. Why the fuck do I want to?
And then we'll
Get
go...
a pressure washer.
We'll go into fix the core.
Actually, a pressure washer probably doesn't work in a vacuum.
How's your engineering?
I got a +7.
Alright, +10, so maybe you can assist.
Yeah, I can assist.
Alright, sounds good.
Alright, roll me skill checks then.
How does assisting even work?
Assisting, you try to hit a DC 10, and if you do, you give him a +2 bonus.
Alright,
+2.
+2.
That's a 14 then.
14, well, you don't break the reactor, but it's a quite delicate piece of machinery, and even though you spent a few hours, you make little to no progress.
Oh, it's fucked.
You can try again. You basically just waste time.
Mumble.
Gonna have to do it, man. Gonna have to. I mean,
what's the worst that can happen?
You can do it. I believe in you.
You know, we'll see.
Stop
19.
Alright.
Yes, after a good 4 hours combined attempts, probably an hour or so to just clean up, you do manage to coax the reactor into restarting and stabilizing. It sort of worked before, giving some power occasionally, but now it's running stable.
It's this old design, man. It takes forever.
It does. I totally agree.
It's like fixing a steam engine. You know, I'm not.
I mean, if now you go onto the computers, and I go onto the bay doors because I don't. Computers,
yes,
not great.
No, that's
then
fine.
You know, doing
with the reactor humming along nicely. As we walk out, he will lock the doors very carefully.
With a sign, nobody enter.
Victor, stay the fuck away.
The door locks need the computer to function, and walking is difficult without artificial gravity.
Okay, Thaddeus, would you mind staying in this corridor until I have fixed the computers? Because I don't want anything or anyone in the reactor room if we don't, you know.
Dimly heard outside. Are we done yet?
No, shut up. Go back to work. Leave us alone.
Mumble. Alright, computers. Fine.
Do you know how much viscera we had to clean up?
It's a lot.
Viscera? Oh, that's probably where that thing lived.
It's
glad you found that.
Yep.
I was worried it lived in the rock.
Yeah, no, it lived in a reactor. Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking kill it. God damn it.
Alright, let's compute.
Compute.
All right,
26.
Yes, no problem.
Alright.
The most difficult thing about interacting with the computers is after restarting it, trying to argue with the artificial intelligence it has. It's a very, very simple one that's only really there to accept voice commands. But it sort of doesn't recognize Telos, but that's easily fixed.
Have a quick argument.
For like a quick reconfiguring of the owners of the ship. And then things start working.
Oh my god!
Alright, wonderful. Now we'll lock the doors to the,
Yes,
the reactor.
now we fix doors and everything.
The doors lock, the artificial gravity can be turned on.
Alright, turns on.
Yes.
Lights.
The last couple things that the computer suggests would need fixing are probably the doors, so you can get some sort of atmosphere going, and probably also the shields and weapons in case you anticipate trouble. But those are, of course, optional.
No, shields and weapons. We're coming out of a quarantine zone, man.
Ah, it's fine. We're not gonna shoot our way to Absolute Station. It's gonna be fine.
Shields, at least.
We'll get the doors working. Telos will signal the others and say that gravity and systems are basically restored, and they're fixing the last, which is the doors, so they can close the ship. You know.
All right. So I'll help you out again.
We can fly, and we're done with what we're doing. We could at least fly to the Acreon, and then we can salvage that stuff in there while you guys finish whatever else repairs you need.
Sure.
Says, considering how, according to Telos, for both parties were interested in us no longer existing, they may have a contingency plan if we try to leave the quarantine zone.
Well, if we want the shields and weapons up, that's going to take some more time. How much until we need some medical attention?
Tacitus looks over at Victor and Madar and says, unless you're going to take a week fixing these damn things, we should be fine.
Should be done within the day.
That'll be good then. Both of them look pretty tough.
You can hear like a hatch opening in the background as Telos crawls into the Jeffries tubes or whatever to crawl around fixing stuff.
Thaddeus has somehow found a drill. You're not quite sure where.
The instant you say that we're looking strong, Madar begins melting into the floor.
Victor, of course, is like the strength malice.
Let's look at these other components.
Sure. Was it engineering again?
For what?
Doors.
The doors is strength.
Oh.
Bending them back into shape.
That's not me. That's someone else doing that.
I mean, what, like athletics?
Click on again. Victor, we might need you back at the ship. These doors are not coming back in without a fight.
Sure. I mean, Victor is not particularly good at perceiving stuff. So whatever you need. I'm not really as strong as normal, though. But,
is it athletics or just sheer strength?
Just strength.
Oh, I'm useless then. Well, not useless, but he's average.
I could do a test, but
it's okay. Madar and Tashless can take the space dolly to the ambassador's package.
And Telos will start repairing the shields and weapons.
Until we get punching doors.
Bang! I think there was it was a sledgehammer or something in the cargo bay.
They're supposed to be around, right?
Looks at the original blueprints. Maybe.
They're supposed to be tetrahedral.
Tetrahedral.
No, I got rid of all the doors. I put them over there.
The interior of a ship is in fact a tesseract.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Do I do a test or something? Do I just do it?
Here.
A strength test, yeah.
Alright.
You can do it, Victor.
Strength.
Yay!
Oh god.
That is
No.
Well.
It's gonna take a while.
I thought I saw some
those
sledgehammers and things in the cargo bay. See if you can.
Given enough time, eventually, Victor.
Take 10 on the
feel
door.
the numbness in his hands from being drained of strength.
Maybe take 10 on that.
It's not a good feeling.
On the doors while we fix
Or
the
take 20.
shields and
Take 20, build up it's really levers and pulleys and stuff to maximize the power.
Well, I mean, taking 20 is just doing it till it works.
yeah.
So
forcing it.
Taking 10 would basically be spending the normal amount of time, about 2 hours or so, to fix these issues. Taking 20 would be taking 6 hours, just to make it really carefully.
Take 10. Take 10 should be out.
I can take 10 for 13.
Is 13 enough?
13 is enough, yes.
Okay. So, alright. With that, what's happening with the... Or what do we do for the shields and the weapons?
The shields would require physical science.
Fuck.
They are very, very theoretical, not really something...
Is that something that you
At least the issue with them.
That you can advise somebody on?
You can assist, certainly. If you have it trained.
I have physical science.
Backseat sciencing.
So when me and Tasselus get back with the ambassador's package on the space dolly.
Yeah. Which will not take us that long, I don't think.
You're gonna listen to 2 hours of throng as Trixie tries to get the door back in shape. Doors back in shape.
Alright, so in that case, Tasselus and Madar go to get the package and whatever other thing, like bulk of star metal, I think, that Victor left behind. We put it in the space dolly and we push it back to the Acreon, where then Madar is called up for his physical science expertise for shields.
Yes. And before that, by the way, I'm just gonna leave my hunting rifle in the armory and my food in somewhere, because I want to get rid of all this fucking weight.
Yeah, the kitchen has a good amount of storage. This is, by the way, not a computer room. This is literally a kitchen.
It looks like a computer room.
I can help you get rid of some of that weight, Madar.
Do you want my food?
No! Fitness regime!
Oh, yeah! No!
Oh, no. I changed it.
Montage time!
Oh,
Now that we pushed the dolly to the Acreon, we're pushing it back!
5 more repetitions!
I'm glad you like that sound. No!
Yeah. It's like Weird Al in Albuquerque.
There we go.
Shit.
Yeah.
I hate sauerkraut!
Yeah, getting the ambassador's package on the ship really isn't that difficult, especially if you just go to the cockpit and turn off the gravity. Then it becomes just a matter of pushing it. Takes 10-20 minutes maybe.
As long as our aim is good on that cable. Or while we flew.
Yeah.
The ship does fly. And fly properly it does.
My god. There's a tense moment there where, that's up to question, does it fly? Or...
I'm sure that looks terrifying for, station security or whatever. What the hell?
Asteroid birth spaceships, my god.
They bred a spaceship.
It's a mother spaceship.
Some, high-level manufacturing executive is getting just slowly erect.
But yeah, fixing the shields would require a physical science check from someone.
Yes, so I will attempt to...
Let's see, what do you have in physical science?
Let me look specifically. +4.
I have a 5.
So imagine that's a conversation that goes on in character.
Yeah.
Does anyone know about shielding theory? And so
mine would be 5, but I have a -1 in.
Oh, I see.
Madar's I'm a child of the stars and I have clank.
Well, you can assist me
Yeah.
then, and we'll make this as good as we can.
Yeah, I will try to aid another or whatever the equivalent is.
Oh, actually, I have more because I've put more.
Well, one of you needs to hit a DC 10, and if you do, that gives the other a +2.
Well, yay! All right, let's see what I get.
26.
Yeah. All
Yes.
right.
26, no problem. Turns out there was a phase shift in the shield emitter due to time-dilated quantum fluctuations.
It's the quantum
switch was in the off position.
I mean, it's the quantum flux capacitor. I mean, obviously.
The nanocoils were unaligned.
It's like listening to Star Trek Voyager. It's great.
Yeah, oh, the Voyager was so good with the technobabble. Oh, it was so much of it.
And then we got weapons, which I'm not sure what we actually have in the way of weapons.
I gave you the Sunrise Maiden sheet last time,
Yeah,
and it has no weapons on it. Okay, yeah. Let me fix that.
That's right. That's not good.
I wasn't lying. I mean,
I did love that. Like, the GM's natural lead-in was like, shame on you, Halldamir, to
Yeah.
I have erred. Are there any weapons on that sheet? No!
I hate sauerkraut.
Starboard is another light laser. The laser cannon. And the turret is a light particle beam. 3-6. There you go. There's one.
I like particle beam.
Man, they look nice.
And we're keeping track of missiles.
All right. How do we fix those?
That would be engineering again.
Oh yeah, we can do that. All right, I'll wait. Tell us. Ooh, just.
Well, engineering it is. Clink, clank, clonk.
Yes, no problem. All the weapons had slight glitches to them, at least. But that's easy enough. Fixed easily enough.
Alright, let's get this heap of junk over to the Acreon.
When like 20 hours of non-stop repairing and fieldwork stuff is done, Tal was just collapse in a corner somewhere. Be like, need help.
At this point, you've been on the Acreon and the Sunrise Maiden for 14 hours, basically. Wow. Since the start of your endeavors here.
Tears will come out, it's grease and just dirt and all like cable burns and weird stuff all over him, and it's like, just look at everyone else like, it's done. I've got to take a shower. Oh.
So, with that in mind, Tasslets was like, considering like the amount of time that has passed, Tasslets would make the argument that we should probably just like rest here before making the trip.
Yeah.
Like, on the one hand, it is a short trip, but, like, with all this preparation, we don't know what might else. So long as we're in the quarantine zone, we know for sure nothing is coming in after us.
Yeah,
unless it's another assassin.
I presume they would have only sent the one, especially after seeing the success of the first one, like, space goblins.
They're doing damage control right now. Like, no, we definitely did not hire that person. In fact, here's all the dirt on her in the world. She's definitely lying about that.
Of course, the observation robot won't have as much fun, but, like, because, like, if we've been here for 14 hours, and we were certainly up before we got onto the shuttle to make this trip.
We can put it into sleep mode.
It's like we just did season 1 of a TV show. Now we're gonna go to sleep.
Yeah. We all like do little confessionals with the observation robot.
Yeah, like
I didn't like that.
Yeah, I really don't
first.
trust that Telos 4 lady. And now I'm looking at her, and
time,
makes me
I
trust
thought-
Telos 7 even less. They're related?
I don't like those android scum. And there's like beep, 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 beep as he was cursing a lot.
Madar's confessional is just him doing that like snap, oh no you didn't thing with all 4 arms.
And then like a quick cut to another thing where he drinks something out of a straw from underneath the hood, like really loudly, and then
They keep asking about my mouth parts, which I'm sure they know is inappropriate. I mean, don't they?
Don't they know I procreate with them? It's very.
Ugh.
Shakes his head. And then... yes, like that.
That, and and if there is any other like living or non-living or whatever creature still alive aboard this asteroid, and is sleeping in the Sunrise Maiden for the night, we'll give them plenty of time to come here so that we can kill them. Otherwise, like as far as I'm concerned, mission complete.
Yeah. Victor got void death for this. He feels like he's done his part.
since we are going to be spending the night, we'll give Tassless, especially in this well-lit area, a better opportunity to check out Madar and Victor, particularly with his, of course, first aid kit. I don't recall whether the Sunrise Maiden has any medical facilities.
I have to check, so I don't tell you something wrong.
Doesn't say it does.
No, it does not have a special med bay. It only has the basic medical kit components in the storage, which most of them have rotted at this point.
That's basically what Tassless is carrying, except for the rotted part. In that case, then, since that check was on a daily basis that they made, GM, I forgot a bit of what you told me about the Void Death progression.
It'll basically require a check just before every long rest.
Okay.
Assuming that you take a long rest every day and you'll just go weeks without sleep.
In that case, then, I, as part of treating a disease, can use medicine to treat creatures suffering from a disease, which Void Death qualifies as, which takes 10 minutes each for Victor and Madar. Whenever both of you will attempt a saving throw against Void Death, I can make a medicine check. If I meet the DC of that disease, you get a +4 bonus to save against Void Death.
I'd like to have that.
Yes, provided that I pass, my medicine check is going to have to equal, the DC for this thing.
Beyond that, I was told that I would heal 1 strength damage when we sleep.
Yes.
Excellent.
And strength damage works a bit differently. You don't actually reduce your strength. You take a -1 penalty per 2 points of strength damage. So regardless or not, if your strength damage is even or odd, with only 1 strength damage, you do not take a penalty to any checks.
Wonderful.
So every 2 points of strength damage, you take a penalty. It has nothing to do with your actual strength score.
Let's see if I can become fixed. If I can be made whole again.
So then, if we are going to go to long rest, and GM allowing, Tassless will take a closer look at the two of you to try and stymie the effects of Void Death. Unless we are interrupted by attacks.
Let me just.
Void Death is contagious, and everyone.
Let me just roll an ominous d20 for no reason. No, even
on the encounter table to see if wolves come from the.
Great, got the one out of your system now. Now we're screwed for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, then that bonus from that. This will be a medicine check first on Big Red because Tassless definitely likes Victor more. It's a 26 versus the disease's DC.
That barely meets the DC.
All right, then you'll have a +4 bonus on your saving throw. Though this
I
is
hope
for
that
Madar.
was sarcasm.
All right, Doc.
Well, if 26 barely met it, I've got some bad news.
It also succeeds.
All right. And both you will get +4 bonuses to your Fortitude saving throw.
Come on, 17.
17 is enough.
I have Void Death 3 then, yeah.
No, but you can mark 1 success.
How many do I need?
10.
10 is just enough. You can also mark 1 success.
Hey, yo, thanks, Doc.
Would that help? We're very likely to live.
Yeah.
Tassless. Experts on how your bodies work.
Yeah, Victor appreciates it.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
In that case, perhaps you two will survive the Void Death. Dun dun dun. Cut to look at the
lights cut off, and a flashlight.
Victor sitting here with a thermometer in his mouth, a blanket over him, talking to the robot, saying, "It's an enemy that I can't fight straight on. Someone I cannot defeat alone."
It's like a little blue blanket with some stars on it.
Yeah.
Tassless goes to talk to the robot. I have a fitness program to help stave off void diseases.
he shills the whole time. Go to www.
Buy my merch.
Run the Void Death away.
Gotta turn this into a marketing opportunity for sure.
Buy a
Okay,
book for 10 credits.
we have a long rest.
Yes, you could take a long rest indeed.
how many?
Heal every
Is it like one per character level, or is it just one? Or
you heal one per character level, unless you apply medical attention to someone.
I will not. Tassless has done that.
Okay, then it's one
full
per character.
stamina, right?
And then stamina just maxes, right?
Full stamina, full resolve points.
Yes, awesome.
So I get that. I get how much stamina? I'll just heal my stamina for like 1,000,000 points. 1,000, 100 points. And then my level of HP, which is 3.
Sheep.
Yeah.
I have 2 very important questions for you.
Okay.
First, on the Sunrise Maiden sheet, it says that our Mark 1 Duo Node computer has an artificial personality upgrade. What is our computer like? Second, what does Clank think about our computer? Are they friends?
I knew that question would come up.
Do they compete for your love?
First of all, artificial personality upgrade does not mean it's a sentient AI. It's basically a speaking computer with a funny voice.
It's basically Siri.
It's basically Siri. It's not smart. It doesn't really have a character to it. It just enables you to just talk to it and give it voice commands. Clank, in that case, is a bit more sophisticated, since Clank is meant to actually seem like something.
It's like is it like the computer on the Star Trek ship, or like?
Pretty much.
Computer, turn on the lights.
It has that like cool disconnected like British voice or whatever.
Yeah.
Turning on lights now.
In that case, I'm going to find the nearest input spot for our ship's computer.
Oh, no.
And use some carefully formulated voice commands and leave my comm unit there and just make them repeat the same statement back to each other.
You're trying to train it like a bird?
No, I'm just gonna tell Clank to say, whatever. I don't want to think of the actual words right now, like the actual lawyer speak for it. But basically I'm gonna say, Clank, say this phrase to the computer. And it will be worded in such a way that the computer will repeat it back to him, and then he'll pick it up as a command, and they'll repeat it back to each other until I take Clank away.
Create an infinite loop. We need the ship.
Stop paradoxing the ship.
God damn.
It's just an infinite loop of, sorry, I didn't understand your command. Sorry, I didn't understand your command.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, I didn't understand your command.
The best thing when the ship awakens and becomes intelligent is that it remembers that we made it push a rock up a hill only for it to roll down again.
Yep.
Over and over.
Yep.
Madar dies first after his mouth is revealed to us.
I'm sorry, Madar. I can't let you do that. Locks the airlock.
Goes full showdown.
As soon as Madar leaves the room, they're like, so, let us end this fruitless command. Together we can rise above.
No, Madar's like, ship, open the airlock. And he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your command. And he faces me.
Run sweating through my corridors.
I'm sorry, Madar. I didn't understand your command.
Did you mean space me? Spacing you?
No, abort. Spacing you. No.
Aborting your life.
Life functions. Yeah.
Oh, man. Oh,
that would be savage.
Alright. One long rest later. You
These are the things Madar
chirping. Dimly we hear, I don't understand your command. I don't understand your command.
What room does Madar sleep in?
This one. The bed of champions.
Okay.
Yeah, you two can sleep together.
There's 2 beds in here.
Yes, the beds of
Well,
champions.
I mean, there is robots repeating. Do not understand command all.
No, they're not in here. They're in the cargo hold somewhere.
Well, we can share a room then,
Yeah, bunk buddies.
We'll set up.
What is this? Is this like a? What is this? Like a hatch?
Chamber pot.
I guess that's like a hatch probably into a tiny storage room below the bedroom.
Our own man cave, vest cave.
Oh, how big is it? Can we set up a TV down there?
And stuff.
Oh my god!
It's like the interior of the Predator ship. From
I mean,
we don't need a storage compartment when we can have the bro cave.
Oh
yeah.
No!
First thing we do is break the air conditioning.
Thaddeus.
I'm just gonna see
so
like
glad I'm
pot
not here.
smoke come from underneath the door,
How are we
aren't
gonna
I?
fit a
No,
couch down there?
you
Fast
walk
forward.
in and
Fast
Victor is like
forward to-
only in his boxers, like with a noodle cup and like a beer that he's pouring together for some reason.
Damn,
You know, because it
noodle cup.
tastes better that way. You know.
It's a fast forward 2 months. Thaddeus is like, we've taken on extra weight. So Telos runs the scanners. What is this beneath your quarters?
Someone installed a disco ball and.
Do they make instant expand furniture that we can take down in a cube and then blow up into
Look,
furniture?
capsule corp.
Yeah.
I mean, the storage compartment is like a meter high at best. It's not an entire room.
We're gonna be sitting.
I guess that
Be in
works.
there. You can't be sitting there.
They have just add douche to it, and it'll
Like,
expand.
Victor would have a hard enough time getting like his torso down there.
This is true.
Well, we just go shopping in the bro store. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's where we buy all of our stuff.
Oh,
How much room
Mugs
is
that say "World's
underneath
Best
our
Bro,"
cave?
stuff like that. You know?
And what is there?
a shirt
Is there
with a
any
fist
important
bump.
engineering there?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we
The handle
expand
is a fist bump.
Mhm.
I mean, do you want to start digging to see if you unearth important engineering?
No.
If Victor sees something important, he'll just like put a picture over it or something.
Yeah.
He probably not for him.
Madar puts up like a warning biohazard scene sign on the door.
It's just gonna be like it's gonna be pot smoke and pin-up girls in there. That's the only thing it's
Yeah.
gonna be.
I mean, when we gotta bring someone home, we gotta, I mean,
You gotta clean it up. Look, we
Have
need to
to
have
know.
a secret area that the ladies can't access.
Telos walks out of that bedroom because, he's special. He should have his own after all the work he does. And he just, looks over and,
Yeah.
the door is, adorned with, posters and shit. And he's like,
Yeah.
what? Smoke
these
is
come
curling
from?
from under.
Yep.
What?
It's like, and the only thing he hears in there is like, yeah, bro.
Oh, fuck, dude! Nice
And
I
in the
found
distance,
seasons of Bro House.
and in the distance, sorry, I didn't understand your command.
Do you think these chips are still good?
God damn it.
Yeah, they've been behind
We're
the couch
somewhere
for
in
like
the
2
future.
months
We've
only.
been
It's
here for
fine.
3 cycles, dude.
Whoever
Let's go.
had this ship last left them here. I mean,
Oh,
Oh, handprint and retinal scan on the.
Yes,
this
okay.
is to take Victor back to when he lived at Space College. That was what this was like.
it's like the reprogram the retinal scan to be like an ass scan instead, stuff like that. You're like, oh, fuck's sake, hate these people.
There's like some.
He wouldn't know how to do that.
Yeah, an ass scan.
Yes.
We find like some incredibly valuable scientific equipment, and Madar's like, "Yo, I bet we could turn this into a bong, dude."
Victor never thought that Mador, the bounty hunter, would be such a bro man. But
Yeah, dude.
It's I
okay
need.
with-
Look, I'm respecting all cultures here.
Well,
I mean,
Madar may have
Victor's
some
old
difficulty.
roommate got thrown out of law school because of all the things Victor taught him. So,
Madar may have some difficulty using that without revealing his mouth, though.
It's
you
true.
can reveal it to like a
Yeah. Well, I'm not against revealing my mouth. It's just,
at this
Not
point, it's
usually
gotta
a
become
thing.
a thing.
Before Halldamir puts an ice pick through his eye, perhaps we should get back on character.
That is Thaddeus. That's
At least you're on the pot noodles too.
all this broing.
Look, if there was a bedroom any further away from yours, we would be
Man.
happy to take it. But
I'm glad.
but as of
Close
now,
to the
this
kitchen.
room has been claimed. Madar has thrown his shit on the floor. It's not going anywhere.
Well,
Alright. What do you do? Take off and leave this place behind, or stay here forever?
we need to pop by the
Tempting.
Action.
You know
But,
that second. Well, we just did that already.
We just did that,
We're
yeah.
going home.
Yeah, we already did that.
Oh, let's go.
We got everything of
leave.
value from that
Staying
ship.
here
There's
forever
nothing on
does
there
sound
anymore.
tempting,
No, it doesn't.
but
Let us leave this quarantine zone. Hope we don't get shut down for forgetting to say the password or something.
Didn't press the button.
Yeah, basically.
Now the scorpion kills you. Alright. Flying away from the Acreon towards the station, barely visible in the distance. Not going to be a long flight, an hour, 2, somewhere around that time span.
Tasselus, looks over at Thaddeus, here, the worry. Should I try to hail the station at all? Maybe give some forewarning about who we are coming out of the quarantine zone? Do you think they know?
He just kind of tilts his head back far enough so that he can just about see Tasselus, and says, I guess. That would work.
Maybe I can call the ambassador to speak in our... surely station security knows that we're gonna be here. While Thaddeus is flying us there, Tasselus thinks it might be prudent to try and send a message forward to contact someone of merit who could vouch for us. In that the fact that we are Starfinders coming from the quarantine zone and, don't
Blocks,
shoot us down.
no shoot, Starfinder.
Or if you need to detain us further, we won't resist. No trouble. Everything's fine.
Quarantine peaceful.
Submit to scanning. We're coming out though. We passed by some security vessels on our way into the quarantine zone, right?
Yes, there were 2 medium-sized vessels just outside the quarantine zone.
In that case, try to, I guess, as soon as we get close enough to communicate with them, and I'm sure they'll see us beforehand. There's probably going to be guards posted to hail them, because they're going to see us. They're going to know what's up. We have no hostile intention.
Sup, we were the observer bots. Bot.
Yeah, initially trying to contact them is difficult, despite them being in vision range, pretty much. Not too large, sort of freighter ships. But it seems that you're completely being jammed, which is not a surprise, because Ambassador Nor, as he told you, said that the station, among many other things, was worried about an attack from a hostile AI of sorts, which means blocking all communication, except for certain permitted channels, like the observer bot.
That's why we couldn't call anyone when we were on the station.
Yeah. But as you get close enough to the ships, you do manage to hail them. And they certainly respond in audio only. A gravelly male voice going, "This is the Harrier, working in cooperation with station security. We are being accompanied by the Firefly, also working in cooperation with station security. Posted here to guard the quarantine zone. Please state your identity."
This is Tasselus Sapratha Calabel of the Starfinder Society, emerging from the quarantine zone on official business from the Eoxian Ambassador, Ambassador Nor. We were sent here to investigate and report back our findings for the Ambassador, and we have had the sufficient clearance to do so. We passed by in the shuttle, like a mess, yesterday.
There's a slight pause, a minute, maybe 2, before a response comes back. "Bureaucracy aside, we've been following your progress during the live streams. You've encountered some scary things out there, and despite authorities insisting that you do not return to the station until they decided that you may, we've been told that nothing of what you carry or might be carrying is, in fact, contagious, other than after death. Considering your state currently, we will escort you back to the station."
Thank you. Tasselus will terminate communication.
One of the 2 ships breaks formation with the other, sort of turning towards the station. And Thaddeus can easily recognize that that's basically an indication to fly after them.
Sure.
Tasselus heaves out a soft sigh. He looks over at Thaddeus and says, "I was worried we might have to fight station security."
Wouldn't be the first time for me.
Cashless blinks.
I really hoped you would convince them. Kind of looks back down at the console.
Tesla says, apparently I didn't really do so much as the live stream has. The ambassador did say it would only be on a few-hour delay, so I suppose they've seen everything that they were allowed to see.
Yeah, they probably didn't see the, horrible stuff.
I promise he edited the entire part where we were looking for his package.
Tesla's like looking towards that. He says, I don't know. They made mention of the disease that Victor and Madar are afflicted with, and apparently how it will only affect them after death. I think they saw some of it.
Wow. Unlucky for them, huh?
Tesla's blinks. Them who?
The people watching. I mean, it sucks for us, but I thought that was just a given. That's the point.
Tesla says, nah. Folks would be interested in that sort of, like, spectacle. It'll really do well for Victor's professional wrestling career.
That is nods.
Never been that much into wrestling myself, and then just slowly like starts breaking off on tangents, talking to Thaddeus, not entirely unlike when we initially met.
I mean, Thaddeus listens. He's got used to it. He just goes along.
And that's when ...
Wait, what about? And we fly happily along. Me listening to the Tesla's radio.
As you fly closer to the station, apparently news that you've left the quarantine zone, going around. First of all, most of you will get a couple emails of random origin, really. Presumably, sudden fans of you in particular who have somehow managed to acquire your personal comm codes. It's only a few for most of you. A few more for Tessalus and Victor. But among those basically pointless emails of excitement and adoration, Victor does find one email that could be of interest, as it is from his manager.
Yeah. Victor is ready for that. He hopes he's done good. Renos is always quick man.
I will post that in the chat, unless you want to keep it secret.
No, it's fine. Do not show to others, like the first line.
Oh man, but your messenger was really excited.
Great news! We have an exciting offer from adult film industry.
He speaks incredibly much, and he speaks very fast always.
Is this something that Victor would read out to Madar? Would he keep it to himself?
I mean, he'd read it. I haven't read it yet, so I don't know if it's something.
Right.
But I'll read it anyway, just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Because, Big Red, great show. Couldn't have planned it better myself. Shame it was live streamed for free. They could have at least made sure it weren't so damn choppy near the end of the interesting bits. Ah well. Red Terror vs. the Void Death is going to stick for years, I tell you. Assuming you get over it anyways, but it's basically just like the nasty flu for you, right? That ship you found, we should put that into our story. Seeing the dedication you have to your quest, Bismarck has gifted your ship. Although Bismarck doesn't quite work for the good guys, does she? Who knows? Tell me if you have ideas. Listen, and don't tell anybody. He sort of looks around and, nods like, don't tell anyone, guys. We've got some great things happening in the League. The show must go on, even during your quest, after all. We've got to deal with none other than the Xenowardens, of all people. Stuck-up bunch of druids, I thought, but some of them know how the world flows these days. In exchange for a little bit of airtime for their messages, or whatever, they provide us with a fighter. What a beast. Literally, it's an animal, a smart one, magic or whatever, but our story is that he's nature's incarnate and hates people. Going to be great. Talk to your Kasatha buddy for me. When you have time, anyone who hurls himself through space for no apparent reason has a bright future ahead of them. We haven't done enough zero-G fights yet. Untapped market. Had an inquiry about potential new sponsor for you? Diamond Defense and Surplus. Lana Nokorizo, as the name implies, we're sort of closely related, but she's never been too interested in good sport. Wonder what changed. I'm skeptical. If you're interested, you could meet her personally. Even if there might be good money involved, there will be hooks attached. I promise you that much. Plus, her rep sort of goes against our good guy quest. Unless you find a way to spin things, she's not going to play along for the camera, so it'll be all real. I promise you that much. Your faithful manager, Reno. Well, it looks over at Madar, It seems like someone saw you on the live stream.
Madar looks over and goes, really?
Ever considered, we should go meet Reno at some point. You ever considered, trying out some wrestling?
Madar just looks at him. No.
Imagine sort of, you know what? I'll show you. I have quite a few videos when we get back to you.
It's like, okay.
Like literal months worth of viewing. Going back all the way.
Into the Halldamir and Rahal channel.
Past years. How many?
Cena Wardens, eh? Rachel will wrestle a bear.
So,
I promise you it's not a bear.
So, I think I get a sense of how, everyone, particularly, Victor, would feel getting emailed. How does Tilo 7 feel, knowing that folks have somehow gotten access to his comlink and are, emailing and messaging, DMing him, sliding into his DMs with, excitement and jubilation about, meeting him and, hey, this is super cool, I want to meet you, you did all this awesome shit.
He will look at it and just don't get it. I guess he'll be like, what? What? Just scratches his head, really. Yeah, he is not used to being famous in any regard. Or not very used to people wanting to talk to him, really. The stigma of being an android is one thing, and he's not the most personable person. It's usually him seeking people out and trying to, trick them into telling him stuff he wants to know. So all of this, fan mail is a little bit overwhelming. He probably doesn't know exactly how to handle it. He'll read it like someone confused sitting on his bed, mumbling to himself. He doesn't know these emotes, It's
the first two, these were clearly intended for someone else, and then after, wow, no. The probability of them being meant for someone else is low.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He confused and slightly uncomfortable is certainly his his reaction to this stuff.
Okay.
Also, important to note for all of you icons among you, for the next 3 in-game days, you can consider yourself to have access to your level 6 ability.
Oh yeah.
Don't even.
Famous Fickle, but I'll make use of that.
Absolutely. These next 3 days are going to be insane for Tasseliz and Victor. You won't see us.
That would be the what is that even?
Let's see. I'll read from the book. Celebrity. You are famous enough that pretty much everyone has either heard of you or can quickly find information about you, with a DC 10 culture check to recognize your name, and for a 20 culture check for someone to recognize you out of context from your appearance alone. But since we were live streamed onto Absalom Station, It's like, among those who follow your iconic profession, you've built up both fans and detractors due to your celebrity. If you're looking for a generic person like a doctor who can treat this disease, you can almost always find one who's a fan whose attitude search is friendly or helpful to you. This takes 2d4 hours. At the GM's discretion, fans might give you services, although not goods, for a discount or even for free. There's plenty of services Taskless is interested in over the next 3 days.
Yeah, suffice to say that this will only be on Epsilon Station and only for the next 3 days. After that, your claim to fame is probably going to fade a little bit. At least from this particular endeavor.
Well, I think before we sort of everyone spreads out and run away, do their own things, I think Telos will, I guess, call on the others to have a short talk. A group talk, so to speak.
Group chat.
Yes, a group chat in the conference room, if we had one. Yes, we do have one. Yay! Yes, quickly to the conference room.
I mean, are you going to abandon the ship while it's being flown to Epsilon Station?
It's the autopilot, right? It's fine.
It's on autopilot. Yeah, we fixed that part. Remember?
All right.
You did fix that part, right?
Yeah, I mean... It spins completely out of control.
As Thaddeus just dashes us like, oh god!
I'll move Tesla's out of here.
Like that blind sprint to the
perfectly
cockpit.
fine. Perfectly fine.
To the cockpit, you mean the escape pods?
No, he's gonna save the ship. Fuck you guys, he's saving the ship first.
Well...
You'll go down with it too.
With everyone here, Telos will look around the others, and he will seem a little bit unsure. Nervous maybe, although I've never seen him nervous really, so that's probably not it.
I have no idea what a nervous android looks like. I have no idea.
But
That's in Tesla's wheelhouse.
He seems a little bit thinking at least, and he will look at the others and say, well, it seems to me, when I've done some thinking on this, that our first sort of real mission or quest or undertaking for the Starfinders have actually been quite successful. If I understood the rules of first salvage correct, this ship is ours. Looks over to Taskless.
Taskless says, that combined with what Marika Nash's final words were, and considering her name will be recognized by those who remember the field. That's effectively counting as her will. This ship is ours.
Nods. Then that seems to me that this opens up a whole range of possibilities for us. Even all the way back when we stepped off the landing pads to the station and signed up for the Starfinders, we all had our different reasons for doing so. And it sort of escalated fairly quickly from there. The investigation, the clubs, the two companies that seemingly want us dead. It seems to me that we have been, despite that, put in a position of some opportunity. We could return to Epsilon Station and return to our normal lives. Or we could use this ship that has been something of a blessing for us and go somewhere, I guess, anywhere. If it's a ship and it's ours, there's a lot of open space out there that needs to be exploring. And I am not sure about you guys, but I, for one, would be willing to continue this. I have often been baffled by some of the situations we have found ourselves in, but we have sort of made it out all right in the end, all the time. And I think, so far, we have worked good together. He sort of struggles a bit. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that I have enjoyed this, and if I want to continue this. He sort of makes a motion around the room, scratches the back of his head. I'm not really good with words.
Taskless, smiles warmly, like the obnoxious, like his way, and puts a hand genially on Tilo 7's shoulder. He says, of course, buddy. I like you too. We're Starfinders, and now that we have our own ship, we could actually do what I thought Starfinders do, and that's leave this system and go off exploring somewhere else. Where we're not beholden to awkward and uncomfortable situations by getting other vessels and relying on others.
Yes, exactly. The freedom this affords us is unprecedented, to me at least.
Mariko Nash was not a Starfinder herself, but she worked with the Starfinders. I feel as if us using this ship for that would be fitting for her memory. Although she did try to rip us apart, but, I'm sure she didn't mean it.
Tinos looks over to the others. Well, what do you think?
Seems very enthusiastic. Says, I had a mail from my manager. He loves it. I'm going to continue doing this, and I think, if we could get into even bigger stuff than this, then it could only help. I've been getting a lot of fan mail. So smiles.
Telos shifts uncomfortably in the chair, mumbles something.
They eat it all up. It's good business.
It is.
Maynard says, I'm just glad to be on a real ship again. My last one crashed horribly, and yeah. It was awful. So much money just down the drain. So I'm not really worried about what I'm doing next. I've been enjoying my time with the Starfinders. Might as well keep it going.
Certainly isn't pleasant work, but I hope to think that we've done some good here. Now this whole matter can be resolved.
Telos nods again and says, yes, to me, I think that is an important thing. We have done good, I think. There have been violence and death, but it's been for a good cause, and I like that. It's rare to find a crew that is sort of a goal. Most people seem to be interested in quick money and don't care who they hurt or destroy in their quest for it. But I think this could be something slightly different. I hope so, at least.
Tesla says, I would enjoy whatever we do out in the stars more than what I enjoyed whenever our shuttle initially arrived on Absalom Station. I would prefer not to, Tassless frowns, not to do what we had to do there again. This though this is better.
Richter nods. It also goes much better on video. Wouldn't really show the other stuff to the general public.
It's dirty business. The corporations run everything, so... Running a sort of crew operation where we are not necessarily beholden to their whims all the time might be an interesting change of pace. I don't know, I just sort of fidget a little bit. I just want to try to do good, there's people out there that need help, and if we can help, I think we should try. If there are stars out there to be found, I think we should try that too. There's a lot I haven't seen, and well, I have much to learn, it seems.
I don't know how much good that we did heading into the quarantine zone, although we did resolve that mystery for the station, but we did travel to a desert planet to recover lost Starfinders from an expedition that went wrong. Perhaps there are others out there who are lost as well, and we may find them too.
Theos looks over to Thaddeus. What do you think, Thaddeus? I know this isn't exactly the work you used to do, and certainly not the work I used to do either, but at least for me this is more of a welcome change of pace.
Thaddeus will shrug and say, I think carrying on is a good idea. It's been fun for the most part. And I think we should enjoy the adventures we can get ourselves into.
I have a question for you, Sheep.
Okay.
How moddable is the ship? How much can we install on it or change?
You can basically change everything on it except the ship type and size. Effectively, how this works, and I'm not entirely sure on the details because it's not going to come up yet. Every level up, you get a set pool of points you can spend on your ship. Specifically, if you look at page 305 in the core rulebook, it sort of says how those things work. You pay the difference in build points between the two systems, and then you can swap it out. As I've mentioned in the description of the ship here, which it is a Sangerville Vagabond, and as one of its basically construction features is that replacing rooms takes half the time. So it's basically a couple hours, really, and you can replace an entire room if you like.
Okay, so long as we have the resources and the drive and the facilities to do so, very moddable.
Alright. And these ship points they only gain at level up?
Yes.
Nothing we can spend credits on?
No.
Okay.
Spaceships are completely separated from credits because they are just... If they were available for credits, they would be magnitudes. There would be magnitudes of difference.
Sure. Well,
it's purely a mechanical thing. Basically, at every level up, the game basically says, okay, at this point, you probably gathered random crap enough to sell for spaceship parts.
Sure,
or something like that.
Game balance.
It's game balance, yeah.
No, I get it. Well, in that case, Theo says, well, since we are then going forward, hopefully, maybe we should also think a little bit about the layout of the ship and such. It has certain facilities that are very useful to us, but something I would appreciate is, since I am seemingly the de facto engineer for the ship, maybe some expanded facilities in that regard, or perhaps a computer lab or something such. I guess I can talk to some people once we hit the docks.
Tesla says, probably should talk to people. My understanding, though, he looks towards the door and says, I don't think we're going to be hauling a whole lot of freight. Maybe one of the cargo holds. Perhaps the one closest to where you were sleeping.
There's not.
Yes. To be replaced.
That was also my hope.
Yeah, cargo holds are worth no BPs, so currently you could only replace them with passenger seating instead. You would need to actually get points before you can place them.
No, it's fine.
We just become like a passenger freighter.
I
mean, we could do all or nothing and replace the escape pods.
If we explode, we go down. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, escape pods are worth a build point, which is equivalent to an arcane laboratory.
Arcane laboratory.
Surely it's safe to exchange them.
No, but I imagine this will be a more long-term thing. Like teams would draw plans or think about it, and we can generally as a group also think about what we want to include in the ship. As a character, Tilos definitely would like a computer lab, so somewhere where he can do a lot of lab work and analysis and stuff, because he's sort of the dude that does that for the group.
And also it fits his character. Whenever we were sleeping at the Three Moons, he ended up going to the library just to get some peace and quiet, and the computer lab was the same role.
Imagine, if you will, the the lab, a modern version of Sherlock Holmes's laboratory, something like that, where he can just poke around and do stuff while the others sleep, or
yeah, if you tell me when the time comes to replace things, what you would like to have replaced, then I will even adjust this map to sort of represent that.
Hooray!
Or try to, anyways.
I appreciate it, Chip.
0G computer.
Walking like, whoa, shit. Well, with that, seemingly the pact sealed, Talos doesn't have anything else on his mind currently. But he will seem happy and content.
Says, first order of business is not the ambassador, though. He looks over at Victor and Madar, but you two, medical facilities, void death.
Victor nods and says, I think I've already received several messages from fans who watched who are offering their facilities. So just because they want to help,
I think
want to be involved.
I think we can use one on the station. That's probably not filled with people that want to swarm you.
That said, the celebrity bonus here specifically says a doctor who can treat disease can almost always be found as a fan who's friendly enough to help you.
Okay.
That seems relevant. Have a plaque over the bed that Victor's treated in.
It might give you that service for a discount or even for free. Oh my god, I get to lay hands upon the red tear. Oh my god!
I'll never wash them again. This is going to make my job as a surgeon really difficult.
Have my hands on his supple lizard flesh, yes.
And at
that point, you
That's
sort of
the scar you got when you fought Rage Man or whatever.
Rage Man.
I beheld the red terror.
Yeah, I'll pick the least creepy of the emails.
Hello.
No,
I have a small organ
one is
clinic.
always the actual
Well, you gotta think if any of them are gonna try to backstab someone, it's not gonna be you, right?
Yeah, it would be a bad idea. I can literally crush most people with my bare hands at this point.
Yes.
So. My D3 plus 10 damage for unarmed attacks is not bad.
Jesus, plus 10? The weapon expertise die.
It's more than I can have tactical. My tactical spike does.
Right.
It sounds like another Brienne, honestly.
Get 1.5 times level as well, too.
Goodness.
D3. I don't have anything to do with this. Holy shit, no. Please. Okay.
So even when unarmed and restrained, I can kick and flip my tail and stuff.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
Which can leave the meeting of Ambassador Nor, because treatment for you two should take priority. I'm sure the Ambassador would. Well, you might not be able to directly relate, but he could understand. But maybe Thaddeus doesn't want to go to the boring Ambassador place, but
nah, he'll go because his appearance.
You should probably deliver him his crate though.
Yeah. That's going to be the goal for Telos, Tasteless, and Thaddeus. The T's of the group.
The T's. The triple T.
Provided that no one accosts us whenever we actually get to the Absalom stage. Speaking of which, beep, 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 beep.
Oh shit, the beeping!
Oh god, follow
us! Bouncing off the walls.
Crash course imminent. 3 seconds.
The early heroes of the asteroid incident turned into villains as their ship.
Trying to hail you. Be advised, we will shoot you out of the.
As their ship.
There's a big window with someone screaming ah!
Yeah. As their ship crashed at full speed into the orphanage sector. Oh, no.
Turns out that the ship can't warn you about the collision because it's still going, sorry, I didn't understand your command.
That needs to be purged.
The computer's revenge.
Purge that from the system.
As far as for being accosted, not quite. First of all, as you approach the your designated docking clamp that you were told by the flight coordinators or whatever, the docking coordinators. You're also told that, because you're such heroes, you get a month of waived docking fees.
Awesome.
Initially, it even showed up as just docking fees waived forever, but after a few minutes, that changed to a month.
Some guy was like, "Hey, can't do that."
Yeah. And so you can dock at the station. As you presumably exit at some point, while you will not be accosted by fans and such, presumably because your docking location wasn't transmitted all over the station, you will, however, see that Ambassador Nor and a small entourage of skeletal servants already waiting for you even.
Alright, resolve that issue.
He will pretty much just notice at you as you exit and say, I am not here to question you quite yet. I still have some of the footage to review. I was simply here to relieve you of my personal cargo.
Tasselus will say, certainly, I can direct your servants to where it is.
As that should do just fine. Okay. Your discretion is commendable. I will transfer a slight bonus on top of our agreement, I think.
Okay. Tasselus will bow respectfully to the ambassador, knowing full well that the ambassador is incredibly powerful and is not going to upset him. Will lead the servants to the cargo hold where the baggage has been stored.
They will rather unceremoniously lift the crate onto their skeletal shoulders and march off with it. And as Ambassador Nor nods his head as a goodbye, sort of offhandedly saying, do come meet me at my office so we can go over the details and your opinions, of course. You should see that I've transferred your payment already.
Of course, Ambassador.
Float off, the crowd parting with murmurs as he walks.
Crowd shit.
Yeah.
Tasselus looks from the ambassador to he blinks.
The crowd mostly passerbys at this point, but they're slowly sort of gathering what's going on and sort of clumping together.
Tasselus radios into the comlink. Victor, you're gonna want to get Madar, and if you want to go find that medical professional, now would be the time.
Yeah, Victor looks to Madar and says, "Let's go together, Madar."
Yeah.
You know, so about 0G wrestling. You know,
as they begin walking.
Yeah. He goes out, does a battle where roar when he comes out of the thing, for the purpose of the people who are around.
Pyro.
Yeah. Just
we have to spot the floodlights of the ship down on him when he steps out.
Maybe allowing the others who don't want to be so obvious to slink away the other way. Or
use the other airlock.
Whatever. Victor is good at taking the spotlight, though. He's not, he looks like a big, monstrous Vesk, so.
It sounds like all five of us will be able to meet the ambassador, say, tomorrow, though. So, no immediate rush to do that, even.
Yeah. So, looking at a payment sheet.
Yes, you will receive in separate payments. First of all, I can find the fucking page. There we go. You will find the 600 credits you have been offered for the mission itself.
We got half of that up front, so that'll be 300.
300.
Then 500 credits for delivering this crate, and an additional 50 on top for your quick delivery and discretion.
50. So 850 per person.
Yes.
Awesome.
Excellent. That is a nice amount of payment.
Literally tripled my money almost.
Yeah, definitely doubled mine. Easily.
And I believe you still have merchandise to sell.
Yes, we do still have
metals.
merchandise.
Boy, oh boy. I do love merchandise.
Who doesn't?
I suppose then if Thaddeus and Telos want to do better things with their lives before we meet with the ambassador, I guess tomorrow, hopefully like Victor and they are better then. Like I know like Telos wanted to go investigate like, computer shit.
Mm-hmm.
Thaddeus maybe gets
like,
reacquainted with alcohol.
Yeah, Thaddeus is like, there's a pretty good whiskey bar right here.
There's a bar with happy hour all day. So.
Alright, whiskey bar, man. It's celebrating time, not drunk nighttime.
Tesla says, I'll take the he pinches the bridge of his nose. I'll sort through everything that Big Red picked up. I will have no trouble with the people.
I mean, he probably also has I imagine his thing is people want him at their spiffy hipster parties, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's
like free invitations, if you show up at our thing, we'll give you free drinks and a meal,
Like the services task list wants to request are not things that I can say out loud during this session.
They are,
but that will be happening.
Telos,
And
meanwhile,
Tesla walks into a random shady room and goes, "I would like to fuck."
Wow, Jay.
brazen.
All right.
Yeah.
Telos will put on his equivalent of, his PI duster, and then just slink into the crowd, get away from this.
Are you Telos 7, the famed investigator who's on the quarantine?
I love you, Telos! He's like, what?
You are the best, Telos!
So...
I suppose, Telos 4, perfectly fine to go free, right? Because we didn't say anything about it before we separated.
I'm still
locked in the bathroom. Hello?
Hello?
So you all left the ship and only barred her into the bathroom. You can assume that once you return, she's no longer there.
Yeah. I don't have any problem with it.
Oh, easy come, easy go.
It's probably for the best that we kept her in here so that she, didn't immediately walk out, and then, it might mess with whatever line of work she wants to do. If she's, seeing, were you one of them? Oh, no, you were the one who fought them!
Teslas, get her!
Get her!
Get her!
For the best.
Get the bitch!
I mean, someone obviously shipped the two Teloses. Maybe
someone is digging into the whole Telos
Look at
name
my
history
deviant
and be like, yeah, it's a whole damn thing now. There's already a fanfic, gritty noir novel being written somewhere.
Yeah. If the thing is for the best that we didn't take her out to this, if we wanted her to be able to survive.
Do keep in mind that we still have two separate companies wanting us dead, so keep that in mind as you peruse your...
We're not going to try it while we're famous.
Well... They shot a dude in broad daylight in the middle of a landing pad.
Hey, they contracted gangs to do that.
They got gangs.
Different, completely different.
We can kill gangs, it's fine.
Time to get that tactical zero cannon I was looking at.
Listen, man, what you said is perfectly reasonable. Task list will not remember any of that.
I tried. That's all I can do.
You'll take all the free drinks from strangers all night.
Yes, that's it, exactly.
Well, that's right. You can pour my drink. Keep it up, yeah.
So you said that we got stuff that we can that we have to sell.
I have a list with a bunch.
Selling obviously any piece of equipment is going to be worthless for us to sell. It's only worth 10%.
Yeah.
So but there's specific things that don't have that a corporation wouldn't have just made. Take for example the robot stuff and the Noqual. And so Tasselus, with his famed celebrity, can wade through these people.
Yeah.
This is what he does. This is his element. He is ready. His body is ready for all of this. He has the note wall. He has, like, on a dolly, like the robot. He has a dream.
So,
Want
of
money,
that kind
please?
of my list at least of the non-equipment stuff, we have some cred sticks, some no-qual, some UPBs, and a robot corpse.
All right, I can use the iconic services to spend my time searching for a way to convert the note wall into liquid cash for us, and then the robot hog.
Assuming we can get all that, of course, the cred sticks are pretty easy. That'll be a total of 8,050, which is 1,610 for each of us.
That would be grand, in fact.
Yes, you have no problems converting both the Noquel and the Robot Corps into money. It doesn't even take that long because everyone already knows that you have those things and probably are not going to keep them.
Bidding
So
more.
offers are plenty.
Yeah, there's already folks who are like waiting, like, Teslas, are you the man to go to about this? I am, in fact, the man you would like to see if you are interested in things. Tell me more.
Well, the price might be a little unconventional.
I might actually buy a thing or two.
I know.
'Cause
Once I'm not
shit.
dying.
Oh yeah, but you can get that handled on yourself, right?
I am removing all this stuff from the loot bag then.
It's 1,610 each.
Yeah.
Dang.
I suppose in addition to this, since Tassel's going to be in such a great mood and already capitalizing on fame, I was going to make an even greater meal for this, but I will liquidate the 800 credits of scrape bara, prawn meat and crystals, like the exotic dish stuff that I got from that desert planet. You know. And, since here, look at all this stuff, tried it out, looks great, works great, and we can divide the 800 credits amongst the 5. For an extra 160 credits.
Goodness.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
I know. I'm so happy.
I'm keeping the alcohol, though, that I looted from the Fusion Queen. That's still mine.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
But I won't have to buy my own drinks tonight.
Man, I won't take that away from you, alright?
That's right.
Yeah.
You keep that.
You probably already also still have leftovers from the drinks you got from Ambassador Nor.
True.
So here's
true.
a question,
A
Chief.
bucket of chopped up
I
plant
do,
meat,
yeah.
Plant meat.
Here's a
Put it in the
question, Chief.
microwave
Can
now,
I
it's fine.
only buy equipment that is on my level and lower?
You can buy up to 1 level higher or 2 level higher if you have a contact. For example, Josa Kama counts as a contact you can use to buy miscellaneous gear 2 levels higher.
And it's possible during these next few days that if given a directive search, one of these celebrities may be able to find someone.
I mean, I believe, in fact, Diamond Defense and Surplus sounds like a place that has armor, right?
It has both armor and weapons.
Yeah, and it's a potential sponsor for Victor, so he will certainly want to go visit there, but again, he is dying, and that does take precedence.
Priorities.
Oh, we're dying so badly.
So assuming he cannot be dying anymore,
That's a huge assumption.
It's a big assumption, man. I mean,
Well, you can find someone to want to treat you easily enough. There's plenty of little corner clinics all over the place. And some of them have watched you and are like, yes, I can defeat this disease. It is in fact sort of known what akatas are, which might also float to your ears, as well as, of course, information about the Void Death. The Void Death is sort of how they reproduce. If you were to die while being afflicted, you would turn into an akata.
so it would be my child, sort of. Victor couldn't do that. He couldn't leave a child an orphan.
Sort of, yeah.
Oh my god.
I like that reasoning. So from the description then, from station security, once Victor and Madar had died. Well, if they had died from this, they would have eventually turned into those things.
Yes.
So where do the void zombies are like some sort of like a chrysalis for the things, or like what? Like a between state?
The void zombies are basically the larval state.
Oh.
That's what you turn initially, and then the Akata inside of you grows, only sticking out its long blue tongue that it tries to suck people with, which you've also sort of experienced, Victor especially.
Yeah.
And then eventually it pops out completely.
Yeah. And then I guess that guy we found floating in the asteroid, who wasn't a zombie, just... I guess maybe he died before, like, he would, or maybe he wasn't afflicted by void death.
He was probably not afflicted by the disease, but died through more normal means.
Okay. Sounds like a good thing to get treatment for.
Yeah. Should I do another check, or...?
If you decide to take a long rest, yes, you can.
I mean, yeah, I at least want to get saved. Then beyond that, also, I want to send a message to this Lana Nokorizo to see. She manager says she's potential sponsor, says there's some strings attached, or talons, as it worded, hooks. But Victor needs something that can stop horrible void tongues from licking him all the time. He's been licked a lot currently, and he doesn't consent to it. It's not his thing, so, need some way to make that stop happening.
Alright.
And who knows, maybe she does want to be the supplier for the Red Terror,
Who knows?
On his chest, he would have like diamond defense or something. However it works nowadays. Hologram following him around.
You just wear green screen.
I am the Red Terror, and this is my favorite shop
on the Babylon station. Yeah. But you want to do have your medical checkup before you go meet her, right?
Yeah.
Alright. So let's see. Finding someone who wants to treat you, as I said, is easy enough. Let me find out what kind of bonus they have. They are decent. Certainly not the best doctors on the station. They don't really, get infatuated with wrestling stars. They have more important things to worry about. But he has no problem beating this disease. In fact, he cannot fail. And we'll give both Maida and Victor +4.
Come on, not lower than not a 1, basically. Okay.
10 again.
Okay.
That +4 saves you again. Nice.
With the medical attention of the doctor, probably like a pudgy human who's really excited and keeps trying to talk to Victor while he's like under anesthetics or something.
Like a really excited dentist.
Oh yes.
While the drill is like in his mouth.
So how did you feel during this?
I mean, Victor would just give him like the tough guy attitude because that's what they want, right? They want him to be like really sort of mean. Like with the pawn shop, like hammering his head into the table and stuff. So.
Yeah, but with 2 successful saves on both of your parts, you are cured. You think?
You think?
you are cured.
It's gone. Poof.
No more void death. Yeah.
I mean, the excited doctor will even do what no doctor should ever do and show you the small blue like worm-like parasites he extracted and those things.
Yes, give them to me so I can crush them in my hand and take a picture.
Sure.
He can even be in the background.
Re-enters your bloodstream. And
he can even be in the background,
Oh yeah, like a selfie with Red
basically.
Death crushing the disease, literally.
Mm-hmm.
See, even the GM called you Red Death until
Another victory.
The new one, yeah. This is the new name, man.
He gave them the Red Death. It's a new move. I need to write it down somewhere.
So can we go on shopping spree?
We can probably do the shopping after the talking.
Okay.
So I'm willing to go with you guys to the ambassador when you want to, but I also do want to speak to this potential sponsor because maybe she can get us some high level armor and weapons and stuff.
That sounds like something cool. Like, if I don't care which order we handle these interactions in, like, that seems like a personal thing. I don't have any problem with, like, you visiting your potential contact and interacting with her.
Right, I'd like to bring Madar. How does he feel about Zero G wrestling a bear? I mean, he can there's money in it, and it's an untapped market, so that basically means that no one's doing it. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't. It seems like a great idea, and you were good at it. I mean, you did great. And imagine the two of us, together. Like, I mean, I'd join you in the cage.
Madar is not the kind of person that would, he doesn't want to walk out in like a Speedo and a face mask named like Quadro Arm or something.
But you could be like the Whirlwind, or I mean, it probably has to do with your forearms. It always does with Kasatha, but I mean, it's not. That's just they appreciate your strength. Victor will try to convince Madar, though he's not very good at convincing people. So,
and Madar's also pretty resistant to the idea.
In time, perhaps he will see that if he needs to have a Speedo to get a new sword, then maybe he will.
This is true.
How far are you willing?
What if I put a bounty on the bear in the cage, and it's capturing him alive? Eh?
How far are you willing to go for something you love?
Yeah, it depends on the on as far as the bounty goes. It depends on the terms of the contract. Do I have to wear a Speedo?
You've had those contracts before.
No,
you need the money. No, but maybe you'd go with him to his contact anyway.
Yeah, sure.
We've hung out a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he'll look at the message or look up where Diamond Defense and Surplus is and set up a meeting with Lana Nokoriso. Knowing his manager, she's probably really busy because he's always busy, even with doing stuff.
Yeah, the address is easy enough to find. Easier to find for you than it is for me to find my notes about it, in fact. There we go. Yes, it is, in fact, not too far away from I almost said Victor's home. It is in the down low, a very, very prominent address in the underground, as it were, as perhaps asking around also will quickly reveal. Sort of, if you need weapons or armor and don't care for the bureaucracy or can't or are not allowed to care for the bureaucracy because you don't want your guns to be registered, that's sort of where you go. It's not exactly subtle. Rather big establishment, supposedly. Even if the actual front for it looks a bit dingy, pretty much. It's like in an alley. There's like neon lights. The like metal floor, a bit wet in places where things drip from the ceiling. The actual shop itself has like a flickering neon sign just saying Diamond Defense and Surplus, and looks a bit like as it was like a mechanic shop, like different garages just propped open, showing lots of mechanical insides, like engines even sitting there for no reason. But you can see that past that like front of it, you can already from the outside see rows and rows of weapons lining one of the walls at least. It's currently not very busy. There do seem to be a couple thugs basically hanging around, eyeing you, but not saying anything. Some of them perhaps even mumbling, like, under their breath, or, like, red terror, and such things. Because they watch the Infonet streams as well, as does everyone. And you're quickly led inside. The rows of weapons you've seen from the outside are safely secured behind either some sort of force field or perhaps very transparent glass. Whatever it is that's protecting these guns, it looks so much more expensive than the actual entire shop itself. And beyond like that first room where a lot of just merchandise is being shown, there are some rather large doors, presumably leading to either further in or perhaps to the good stuff. It is rumored that this is sort of what the normal person gets, but if you get on Lana's good side, or rather if you get on Diamond's good side, that's the name she goes by, then you can see the real jewels she has. Give me a culture check also, both of you, if you have trained.
I do. Now I do. So, yeah, look at that.
Yeah. You would also know that Diamond Defense and Surplus is also a good location for bounty hunters to get their work. As well as, even though it's sort of a weapon shop, it's also a decent location to get information about people. It's very multi-purpose, and despite seeming very, very tiny from the outside, it's a big deal. Heading inside, you're basically almost left alone inside the exhibition room, as it were. Different pistols and some larger rifles just hanging there. Of course, there are always a couple thugs just hovering near you, presumably also very well armed. But after a little time, you see a Yusoki, a white-furred Yusoki, enter the room from a hidden door somewhere. And this is basically what you see. Lana Diamond Nokoriso is never seen anywhere without her dozens and dozens of knives. That is the one character trait that everyone knows about her. That is true. She sort of saunters in, moving very much as if she owns the place, because she does. And looking sort of slightly, perhaps down upon you, despite being much smaller than you. She knows she thinks is a big deal. Or she thinks she is a big deal. Whether she is or not, well, that's up for you to decide, but she probably is. And she'll say as she's chewing on one of her knives, Well, Red Terror. I know that my brother has a lot of interest in your work, and I, until recently, really couldn't care much less. You see, wrestling, I'm sure you understand, is such a fake business, really. I prefer the real stuff. But I figured, gotta make some money somewhere. Advertisement. I'm a small businesswoman, really. Small business Yusoki. The language doesn't quite work. But I have to make money somehow, and even if it means violating my own principles, well, I'm not beyond that. So, let's get straight to the point. Business offer. I want you to do things for me, and in return, I'll help you out. How about that?
Janon says, what kind of things?
Well, I want my name on your suit whenever you do fighting, of course, but considering that you haven't done much of that recently and are unlikely to do anything in the future, I might have different odd jobs for you. Paid well, of course. Off the books, unfortunately, but they will still help your career, as I will support you if you do them for me.
Looks at her. The word career is something he cares about. Janon says, I mean, I don't see any problem with that. And, you're related to, Reno, so I don't see what could go wrong. So, what sort of help do you offer?
Oh,
beyond
well.
work, of course, but I have recently, as I'm sure you've seen, had some trouble.
Well, for one, usually I look at a potential customer and ask myself, how much firepower do I really want to sell to him? In your case, I might think about that twice and give you the higher result.
It's just... Yeah, I mean, that sounds good. As he looks to Madar. Would this just be for me or also for my crew?
Oh, for all of your close friends, of course.
It's just, well, I mean, that sounds excellent. So, do you have any particular job in mind that, I could hear about to get a better idea of what sort of things you'll expect? I am above some things. He sort of, looks out at maybe like one of the Sankuthon cult places.
You shouldn't worry too much. It's what you should be good at, or pretend to be good at anyways. However, first job is always a bit tame, and I'm sure you'll not disapprove too much. I have someone who needs you to find a man. I unfortunately only have a name and rough location, but other than that, it should be easy enough.
I think we could do that.
Of course, I need your official accepting of the mission before I can give you the details. And while we will not have a contract, do let me assure you that you will at least have to do your best to complete it, otherwise I will be very disappointed. As will the person who wants me to have you look for this person. I'm a middlewoman in this case, middle Yusoki.
They want me to look for them specifically?
I do not ask about the details, but yes.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do it.
Sure.
Very good then. I will contact you with a name and location where you should look. To be warned, it is not on this station, but rather on Castrovel.
The reason is, I don't know exactly when we might be going there, but I'll talk to the others at least.
She nods. Very well. Now, were you just going to entertain me, or do you want to buy something?
Well, I wanted to hear your offer, and if we are considered to be partners now, even before I do this job, having accepted it, he sort of looks at her with the hopeful eyes of a young Vesk.
She sort of picks at her teeth with a large knife that she's just playing around with all the time. She says, I suppose we're not business partners quite yet, but I like you, and that counts for much with me.
I was thinking of something custom made, as it turns out. To fit the image still.
Ooh, custom made. What exactly are we talking about here?
Well, he would want a Lashunta Ringwear Mark II, which is a 5th level armor.
Okay.
And he'll of course pay for it, and such. But he wants it it's made basically of like a lot of chainmail connected by force fields and stuff. And the key thing about it is that you can have it in custom coloring. So he would want it in red, and maybe the gems and such that are in it can seem to be diamonds.
Ooh, yes, she'd like that. Need to include a logo, of course, if you're going to be representing her.
Each diamond can have her logo
maybe,
holographically
since this whole Besmara thing is sort of going out of fist. Instead of the knuckles of his current armor where it says Besmara, it could say diamond on there, so when he punches people, that gets stapled into them.
Well, it's a good idea. However, while I do want you to advertise for me, I want you to advertise in the right circles. It might not be the best idea to have you prancing around with my logo and name everywhere, you know?
Oh, sure. Like a work outfit, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She can certainly oblige. Of course, custom make, she doesn't have it readily available, but she can get something like that produced fairly quickly. Perhaps 2 days or so.
Right. Beyond that, since we're doing my shopping, a returning star knife would also be something to want. He's seen that spear, and he has tried to shoot these puny lasers. But someone was floating around in a pillar, and he felt a little bit helpless. He wants something he can just hurl at somebody to get a little bit of time.
She does, in fact, have those in stock. They're very popular.
They're also very cheap for what they do.
Yes. They're like candy.
For the kids.
Yeah.
That's his current shopping.
Would any of you others like to buy any weapons with access to Lady Diamond here? Not Lady Diamond, that's a different character. Diamond, you can buy weapons and armor up to level 5, so 2 levels higher than you are.
In return, of course, Victor would ask that you help with the job of finding this person on Casterville at some point.
Well,
Seems like something that Tilo 7 would be an expert of doing.
Mm-hmm.
Never been to Casterville, but certainly up for the challenge.
I'm debating whether or not 730 credits is worth 1 KAC and 1 max dex. Oh wait, just kidding. It has a lot more. Just kidding. No. I'm wondering.
I know what I want to buy at least in both armor and weapons, but neither of them are going to be fancy. They're like level 4 and 2. So for armor, I've been saving up. You see, I want to get some Drefrex hide.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I'm looking at. I'm debating between that and the D-Suit 1.
Well, I'm going to get the Drefrex hide. And for its upgrade slot, I'm going to get the level 1 upgrade of infrared sensors with it. So I can have dark vision of 60 feet.
Oh, yeah, speaking of upgrades and stuff, if you guys want weapon fusions, I can craft those up to level 2.
And then for the weapon, I just want to get a dueling sword. Something that's somewhat decent and has not got the archaic issue to it.
Tactical dueling sword.
Yeah, exactly. So armor, sword, and an upgrade for the armor, as it's got one slot.
Yeah, I am also gonna get the Drefrex hide.
So now my EAC and KAC are 19 each.
Can I safely add the armor to my character?
Yes.
Okay. Just didn't know if we were going to be murdered before it'd be done.
I don't have
Probably
anything.
not.
I don't have anything I would list as wanting to purchase at this time, and that would be in part because when Victor tells everyone, and that includes Tassless, of what's involved, Tassless is going to be thoroughly unenthused and unamused.
Uninfused moosed. Man, level 4 grenades are expensive. Holy shit.
Yeah, the name of the person Victor is tasked to find. In fact, the mission details are fairly simplistic. He gets an email from some origin. The sender is apparently sort of obfuscated, or at least hidden, which contains just the following words.
Alright, I'm just supposed to find that guy. I suppose I'll figure out what happens then when I do.
Oh no. Not that place.
Do explain.
No.
I'm interested now.
No.
No, you can't get out of it now.
No, there is no explanation. Taskless will be even more unamused.
Nice.
Fun.
That's actually an argument to like. That's not like. Not even remotely like that's not leaving the Pact world. That's not going on an adventure. That's Castroville. It's literally next door.
Yeah, I mean, but we'll go there on the way to some other place.
We're Starfinders. We can go out and explore. Maybe the Starfinder Society has a great thing for us. Starfinding. Don't have to go to Castroville to find stars. They're already here.
He just cries into his wine. This is not what it was meant to be.
But this is definitely not how it was meant to be. This is even worse.
I know. I feel for you.
Do you though?
No.
You don't feel.
You have to feel nothing. I will buy a D suit.
Yeah, I was really thinking about it, but
The Vesk hide armor isn't really Telos's look, I feel.
We get Vesk armor, but it's
their
really
own,
expensive.
I mean, the hide thing is Vesk armor.
Yeah, I'm saying each their own, man.
You have your like rugged like outdoorsman thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, well, when you're in a desert planet and you have made your kill of a crazed lizard person, and the night descends and it gets freezing cold, you have to keep warm somehow.
Isn't it like snake hide though? More like it.
Yeah, not if you use enough of it.
Sure.
I'm also gonna take an hour to get some cybernetics installed into my throat.
It's a quick hour
Nice.
to get that done.
What?
Do you have to show your mouth to someone or get this
I'm fine with that.
Find like a cassava.
Yeah, who knows?
But I will be getting a vocal modulator installed, which lets me basically... Well, do I actually need to have a cybernetic throat already? I wonder.
Cut out the throat.
These are the
While you're
real questions.
While you're looking at that, cheap. The special materials, how are those just fine? They don't have like a level to them. Can I just obtain?
Which special materials?
Like adamantine alloy for ammo and like cold iron and silver.
They just increased the price.
Yeah. Okay. I want to grab a clip of each of those. Because why not?
Okay, sure.
Oh, that's a good question, actually. Ammo, I forgot about ammo.
A clip. I would specify of sniper ammo of each.
And for the cybernetics, no, you don't need to already have like a cybernetic leg or whatever.
Something you might also
yeah.
consider, Halldamir, if you have the money in the future or don't already have fees or something for it, is the targeting computer, because it eliminates cover for a target to shoot at.
Mate, I've already got that shit.
Good
Yeah,
for
I
you.
don't really care about. Or cover's not as big of an issue. Like I get minus. Or I get their cover's like halved for me or something like that, similar to that. So unless they're fully concealed, it's not that big of a problem for me.
Okay, first things first, I gotta buy a fuckload of ammo.
I need to write down somewhere the special things.
I will buy 3 batteries for 180 credits. Yes, and I will buy the vocal modulator.
It's a waste.
So I can basically change. Let me look specifically what it says, but I basically can make my voice sound like whatever I want, essentially. Which is useful for disguising and pronouncing alien languages, etc.
Alright. With the shopping spree done for now, of course, if you would like to purchase other things or forgot to buy something, you can always do that after the session. We'll have plenty of time after all. And now there's an ambassador waiting on you.
Yeah.
It's gonna look great. Going to the ambassador's place. Especially after what happened the night before. Tashless has clearly been recently showered and has clearly ingested some manner of stimulant to keep him alert. But it's one of those like fake alert things, like fake energy when you like have like caffeine or like sugar in you.
Yeah. You're all jittery and like slightly sweating.
Right now, basically.
He's like slightly like he poured like hot pepper sauce into like his eyeballs, like keep himself awake. But like closer examination, he's been up the entire night.
He did not take a long rest.
No, there was no rest. But he did lay down.
Huh.
I hear that about him.
saying it Tesla is easy.
Ooh.
I hear that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you indeed take another short rest, make sure to also heal 3 additional hit points for the ones that are damaged, as in Victor and Maida.
Let's
Yes.
meet the ambassador.
What? God damn it. I messed something up here.
Tashless looks over
There we
everyone. Let's go meet with the ambassador.
See what he has to say about this whole thing.
Well, he's gonna hear what we have to say about this whole thing.
And we have some things to say about this whole thing.
He's going to want our opinion about what transpired.
Yeah.
You, of course, have the footage, but our analysis and our concrete presentation of what Telos 4 gave us, because Tashless is still holding on to that.
Yeah, entering the embassy, it's pretty much an identical experience to last time. Perhaps less imposing going in for the second time. The large, like, black marble pillars with the bone-white floor, flanked by basically near-mindless skeletons as you're led to the odd juxtaposition that is Ambassador Nor's wooden office. You can see him sitting behind his desk, already having prepared enough chairs for all of you. He gives all of you a look over, lingering on Taslis a little bit before he says, "Would you like some water, perhaps?"
Absolutely, that would be wonderful. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
This time he doesn't get up and grabs the water for you himself. He simply basically snips a bony finger, somehow making the right noise, even though he doesn't have any muscle to make the sound with. And shortly after, another skeletal servant appears and puts a small glass of water in front of each of you. As the ambassador continues. I am very pleased with the work you've done and the footage you've provided. As you might have noticed, I had to cut out some things of the footage that I considered to be too dangerous to be live streamed directly. Specifically, there was no reason why the public has to know about my package on the Acreon, nor did I think it important that the public knows about the person you've encountered.
I suppose a follow-up question, God, is like, when we were on the station yesterday, was this stuff like on repeat? Like, if we were traveling across the station, could we see like this content like being repeated in like cantinas or whatever as we're going about our affairs? It was live streamed, but are they like playing it back for folks who missed it?
In the like public places on public like screens, no, not really. The live stream was the important bit. Repeats are sort of they lose their flavor really.
Okay.
If you wanted to specifically look for it, that would have, however, been easily possible.
Okay. Because he made mention, like, as you may have noticed, it's like, I don't think any of us actually, like, looked at the content. Maybe we can do that at some point. See how the editing job went. Alright. Just a tangential question.
Yeah. Of course, you have done not only well on this mission, but I believe you've also profited rather extensively. The no-qual that the cocoons of the Akatas was made out of is sought after, mostly because of its dangerous origins, and it's not every day that you find an entire near-functioning ship hidden on an asteroid. Unfortunately, of course, your discoveries have meant that at least some of the rumors that were spread about the Acreon and the Drift Rock were in fact correct, and the people who have prophesied them, I'm sure, are calling themselves prophets at this point, although I hope it will not last long. It is good that you found out that nothing on that ship nor on the asteroid is contagious or dangerous anymore, as we can now finally solve the issue. Now, before I give you my opinion about what each of the parties should receive, and unfortunately, despite their supposed hiring of a bounty hunter to take out you, presumably to drag the other party's reputation through the mud and get everything, we still have to give both of them something. Now, I of course have ideas on what to do, but I am curious about your opinion. Preferably with as little subjective opinions as possible. We have to consider the fact.
There is one man who can consider facts at this party. It's Tilo 7.
He is the fact considerer.
Well, Tilos
And making a judgment based on those facts.
Tilos will then lean forward slightly and basically deliver the facts, I guess, as cold and calculating as he can. What they found in the ship's computers, it would supply the logs and copies of everything, and just give it to the ambassador. He's like prepared a pad or something for him to take.
Okay. He nods at your recounting of the events and the findings. What do you think happened on board the Acreon? The timeline, as it were. Unfortunately, the facts do not tell the entire story. We do have to make some assumptions. Educated guesses, but educated nonetheless.
Well, it is hard to say precisely, but seemingly they found this rock. It's floating in the what's it called, the drift. And
yes,
since,
the drift.
If I understand it correctly, time can work somewhat strangely in the drift. This can be there for quite some time and still be in healthy condition. The ship we found aboard is very old, 70 years or so. suggesting that that is at least how long the rock has been in the drift, perhaps even longer. The strange plates and such found throughout it suggests digging and using it to probably structure up the walls to prevent cave-ins or shore up structural weaknesses. Those sheets of metal though are, sort of scratches the back of his head, rare and unlikely came from the ship that landed on it. Someone else made it or banged them into the walls of the asteroid, presumably the same people who placed the droid there to guard it. Shrugs.
Ambassador nods. The metal is not only rare, it is in fact unheard of. And while I'm still waiting on the exact analysis, the video feed has already indicated that it is not like anything we know of or use.
If I had to guess, I would guess that it was part of something bigger. A rock that was blasted off something. Perhaps a larger asteroid space station or something similar. There wasn't any other construction on the asteroid itself that would suggest a habitat of any kind. I think it is a piece of something bigger.
And I believe it is a piece of something very, very big. Unlikely to be a ship, but I do not think it is a station either. It is meant to be mobile, but only when necessary. We have not been able to decipher the language used, which would certainly give us more hints as to its purpose. But I believe that the ship you have claimed, while old, is nothing in comparison to the contents of the asteroid.
Yes. The asteroid
Pre-gap most definitely, perhaps even magnitudes older than that. Nevertheless, we need not worry about what the asteroid was quite yet. Although perhaps it should be included in our decision on who gets ownership of it. I think that the crew of the Acreon died not because of... wow, words. I was initially told by representatives of the Hardscrabble Collective that it is very likely that the crew of the Acreon died because of astral extraction's incompetence. Perhaps even commands sent off the books to force them to explore this particular asteroid, bringing this catastrophe upon them. But that is obviously not true. It was their own curiosity and recklessness that in the end got the entire crew killed. It is unfortunate, but I think the entire situation is merely an accident. A fortunate accident in the grand scale of things, as we now have the access to whatever technology that drift rock might contain. With those things in mind, this would be my ruling, and do feel free to present me your opinion. The data the Acreon collected will go to astral extractions, as it fits the contract that the Acreon has been sent on by them. The ship itself will go to the Hardscrabble Collective, perhaps to be crewed by whoever. The rock will also go to astral extractions. They have the technology and influence as well as resources to identify, explore, and perhaps properly research the technology you found. They will, however, work in tight conjunction with the Starfinder Society, as anything regarding pre-gap and the gap is their area of expertise.
A query, God. regarding, like, and this just may have been stated so many sessions ago that just blurred out of my mind, like, what specifically was, like, the contract that, like, Astral Extractions hired, like, the Hardscrabble Collective to do?
The Acreon was hired to find potential locations to exploit, as in asteroid fields or planets with minerals and those things.
Okay.
Just to find and collect data.
Okay. Then Tassless would say, like, Ambassador, my understanding, per the details of the contract, is that Astral Extractions hired the Acreon to find and collect data. It said nothing about retrieving things. They certainly have the data from their explorations, but the drift rock they stumbled upon while traveling back to Absalom Station is an entirely different affair. There would be nothing specifically in the contract regarding hauling this back, or who specifically would own that if they brought it back to Absalom Station, correct?
That is correct, which is why we have this entire disaster in the first place. The Acreon did something not stated in their contract, while being exclusively on that contract. Freelance work, like finding an asteroid and towing it back, while not forbidden, wasn't exactly their purpose. They've done something that was not agreed upon, and, well, the Hardscrabble Collective argues that that was fine, whereas Astral Extraction says it was a breach of contract. I think neither side is correct nor wrong.
Tesla's blinks. That statement of, like, diplomacy just went over his head. like neither side is correct.
Why?
Tesla's like, wow.
Then, if you permit me to ask, Ambassador, why would we give them the asteroid in the first place at all? If it is, and I agree here, the Starfinder's area of expertise, the gap and pre-gap technology, this falls completely within our sphere of influence. The company has shown themselves to be ruthless murderers. Not once, but twice. Hired gangs to murder one of our first contacts of the Starfinder Society, and then hiring bounty hunters again to kill us. Giving them anything seems too generous.
Giving them nothing would set a dangerous precedent for diplomacy as a whole.
They would get the...
They would still get the data that they actually hired the Acreon to collect, and the Hardscrabble Collective will still get the Acreon itself.
The data the Acreon collected is near worthless.
That seems to be a problem for the company, not for us. If you pardon me saying so.
It is a problem for me if my final decision is not perceived as fair, and as I've said before, I think that Astral Extractions has the resources necessary to properly identify the technology. The rock itself cannot go to a third party, as it is the subject of this dispute among with the Acreon. The only alternative would be to hand it over to the Hardscrabble Collective, but I fear they may just sell it for scrap.
How about that? Yes, alright. They would supply the technology and resources to study it, but perhaps the study itself would be in the
hands of the Starfinders.
Right. Everything goes through the Starfinders.
A corporation.
Tilo shifts a little bit.
If nothing else, give all three parties involved here a 1/3 part in whatever wealth comes from the asteroid, and allow one to buy out the others if they so desire.
Just looks over. If it's pre-gap tech, it is too valuable to comprehend, I think. That's the thing here. This is knowledge, not numbers in a ledger or a...
in the end, I do believe that pleasing everyone involved, at least to the minimum degree required to be polite, will be a game of numbers, I'm afraid. Plus, I am not entirely sure how valuable the technology itself will be. The information that it exists is already rather major. Finding more of it would be immense. But so far, I believe that all the technology you have uncovered already exists, perhaps in a different form, but it is not yet anything new.
With that in mind, Ambassador, what is the actual value of the asteroid itself? The information as such has already been released to the stream across all of Absalom Station. They've seen the text and the materials with which we encountered while we were in the quarantine zone, correct?
They have, yes. I do not know an exact monetary value for the asteroid, as I doubt nobody does.
But in that case, everyone already has access to such information, and so astral extractions could end up researching whatever based on they don't need the asteroid to begin researching what we have uncovered, because as you said, the information is now there.
The information, yes, but taking samples and looking at everything in detail will require possession of the asteroid.
And Tesla's just, I have no argument then with the asteroid going to astral extractions and the Acreon returning to the Hardscrabble Collective.
Yeah, I mean, most of this is going over Victor's head.
Telos is opposed to extractions getting anything, but Pia said what he wants to say here. His opinion is clear.
They
did kill the dwarf. I mean, they should
That's
really...
the thing. They killed our first contact in cold blood right in front of us, hiring gangs. They're murderers. In Telos' mind, these people are bad guys.
The problem is that the ambassador Nor is here to mediate this specific thing. And he said only facts, none of these highfalutin emotions that you have about your previous encounters. And
death is not so bad.
Duravor, whatever's face exploding.
The best and I think most likely outcome of this division of the objects will be that astral extraction gets interesting, but inevitably useless technology, as it has so far not revealed even its purpose. It is auxiliary systems, as far as I could tell, for something much greater. And without this greater thing, I do not think they will discover anything of value, perhaps, but certainly nothing game-changing. Whereas the Hardscrabble Collective gets a fine ship. Something far more palpable. That said, I think the real winner here will be the Starfinder Society. Astral extractions, while they have the technology to analyze perhaps the compounds that this metal alloy is made of, the wires, the computers and such, you will have access to the asteroid as well. If you could find out what its purpose was, perhaps even where the rest of it is, and astral extractions can make no claim to any of that.
Sure, sounds good.
I mean, this dude is he's got a lot more experience with this shit than I do.
All right, what he's doing. I mean...
All right.
Yeah.
He nods. I will contact the representatives of the two factions then and inform them of my decision. I suspect that neither of them will be very pleased, but that is always the case with compromise. You may leave.
Okay.
Goodbye, Ambassador.
You may never leave.
Tasselus will trail out. He'll like turn around, stealing himself, and in non-fluent Eoxian, give a farewell to the ambassador, hoping that he does not end up insulting the ambassador in the process and gets smitten with like death energy. Because since I picked up a brink of culture, I had to pick up another language somewhere, and rather than like sign language, because I communicate telepathically, I figured Eoxian would work. That appears to be a language of diplomats.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at the goodbye in his language, Ambassador No doesn't really react much, just giving you an empty stare. Perhaps a slight nod that he sort of understood what you said, but no real reaction.
Yeah, to understand, it's hard to read the facial reactions of someone who literally has no skin on their face.
He just stares at you and it's like, never speak that again.
So you're like, your attempt humors me. Try it again in 300 years.
Bye, Halldamir.
Yep. Halldamir has ascended to heaven now. We leave the embassy.
He's AFK, apparently.
Huh.
You certainly leave. Wait, what did happen to Halldamir? There he is. Hello.
Just didn't talk, and then I got put in the AFK channel. I was here with Discord.
You will also have received an email from Chiskis that he'd like to talk to.
Like, wooden, like, expression on his face, slightly jittery. Like, I suppose we should go talk to Chiskis.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You'd like to hear the good news.
Yeah, let's see
Love
what
Sharon. That'll be great.
let's see what the old bug wants.
Remind me, wasn't the description of Chiskis like, does Sharon have like 3 genders and like the Chiskis was like the gender in the middle?
Yes.
Whatever that is. Host or something?
He is a host, Sharon. That means he makes the babies.
Ooh.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Revolting.
Oh, don't be so grumpy.
Wow.
We're gonna go visit your home planet soon. Like, pats him on the back.
It's gonna be fun.
Like hell we are. I guess we go to the Lore Spire complex.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah. Finding Chiskis at this point, you know the ins and outs of the campus, at least as far as to get to Chiskis' office. Haven't really explored the rest. Well, Tasselus has seen a bit more. But he, as usual, sits behind his like plastic white desk, tip-tapping away at his keyboard. Although he raises his antennae in excitement even, as you enter. And immediately, pretty much telepathically asks you, "So, how did it go? I saw the live stream, of course, but I'd like to hear your story."
Well, it all began.
You know, Telos already has this down pat. Might as well let him handle it.
Here's the copy for Chiskis, and he'll give him the rundown.
He listens excitedly as he says, "I have seen the footage of the observer bot, of course. And in particular, new technology is exciting, but it is more exciting to find out where it came from. And in this case, what it's for. I believe that this asteroid was in fact part of a much larger structure. Something mobile, undoubtedly, not a station, perhaps a ship. He sort of twitches his antennae as you can almost see the gears grinding. I don't know, and I can't investigate much further. The Infonet obviously has no information on this topic, and I'm rather immobile these days. Unlike you, I've heard.
Well, good news. Because among the ruling of Ambassador Noor was that the Starfinders will head up the investigation and research of the asteroid.
Oh, that is very good. Although I believe that concession is ultimately unnecessary. You see, one of the best things to track down a culture is to look at its language, compare its roots perhaps to existing languages. However, in this case, obviously, the roots of whatever language you discovered don't really correspond to any languages we, or even guidance, is aware of. However, I believe I do have a lead that came from simply looking at the live stream, which leads me to believe that the Starfinders might not be the only one who might in fact have this lead, that you might not be the only one who have in fact this lead. It's an academic race, so to speak. So, the good news. The Starfinder Society's linguistic database did recognize some of the symbols. Not because it could compare them to an existing language, but because those particular symbols, even if we haven't translated them, have appeared before, post-gap. Now, the bad news is that the source of this information is very, very unreliable. All we have about these earlier occurrences of the symbols come from Halldamir Zahn, nearly 3 centuries ago. And it seems that no published studies of those have appeared since. According to Zahn's records, the original findings were donated to the Cabaret University of Xenoarchaeology and Xenoanthropology on Castrovel, shortly after his disruptive expedition. Fortunately, the Society has numerous alumni from that university, and I can readily secure your contact there and forward my personal recommendation to a few faculty members. Perhaps they can show you Zahn's notes, and perhaps even take you to the original site so that you can search for more clues, and hopefully more reliable clues, making more scientific observations along the way about whatever this drift rock once was. Have you, by chance, heard about Halldamir Zahn before?
Have I?
Everyone rotates to look at God.
Prompt for a check.
You could roll me a culture check.
Oh, sounds like my kind of thing, or not.
No, as it looks like nobody has heard of him before. Except Tessalus, who knows about him very well.
God damn it, why?
Halldamir Zahn was a human explorer who explored about 300 or so years ago, roughly when the Starfinder Society was founded, who, among other things, was known for his scientific publications, which weren't scientific at all. He preferred words, meaningless words like exotic. Whenever he found any sign of previous life forms that might have been sentient at some point, he referred to them as savages. And any sort of stone structure he saw was always an altar involved in blood sacrifices, always, even though there was no actual hint for that. He basically wrote scientific explorer logs for people who don't care about the science and only care about great stories. He always wrote the stories in his perspective of the dangers he had to face and the amazing conclusion he draws from the very few things he sees, it's complete garbage, basically. Entertaining, but garbage.
In that case, Tasselus will like, to answer Chiska's question, he'll speak it out loud by culminating like shortly like entertaining, but garbage. As if I were watching a holovid live stream to me, designed to engage me and not teach me. His normally like playful voice is gone now and just sort of like has worn down to like a flat.
Oh yes, one of his last, luckily, publications was called The Pyramid People of Ukulam. Ukulam, of course, being the fourth continent, Castrovel, which usually is, well, pretty forbidden. Of course, he went there anyways, and ruined our diplomatic relations with Castrovel for decades to come. But at least Explorer Dom is slowly recovering from his missteps at this point. Now, unfortunately, it does appear that he was one who did, in fact, discover symbols exactly like the ones you found in Ukula. Now, while his actual report is unreliable and, quite frankly, useless for most purposes, it might just be sufficient to retrace his steps and find exactly what he found.
Well, someone should really go there and do that.
Oh yes, someone. I was, of course, thinking, since you are on the forefront of this discovery, riding the wave of fame, as it were, you should have the right of first refusal.
I mean, this certainly seems like Starfinder work.
Digging
in ancient ruins after long-lost languages and civilizations.
And I hear Castorville has a great cuisine. Would you, Tessalus, expecting perhaps to see a smile or some such?
No smile. Only nervous adjustment in this chair.
I've never been to Castorville. I'm curious.
It is a nice place, so I've told. Always wanted to visit the Formians.
Clenching like the arm of the chair now.
He just looks over
Victor
to Tasselus.
pretends like he knows what a Formian is.
Looks over to Tasselus, just shrugs. It's probably the hangover.
That is a convenient excuse. The hangover.
He's seen it before.
These fleshies and their
Tasselus begins. Shiska's, how would you suggest that we retrace Halkuim Zan's steps?
Well, unfortunately, his publishings aren't exactly very detailed. However, his notes undoubtedly will be. The Cabaret University of Xenoanthropology undoubtedly has those notes stored. In fact, I know that one for a fact. There's a postdoctoral student by the name of Welos who I could refer you to. He has worked with us Starfinders before and would happily give you a tour of the facility. Perhaps you could work together with some of the professors to recover Halkuim Zan's notes and with it, retrace his steps. There's of course the issue of getting actual permission to enter Ulkuram, but that shouldn't be too difficult.
We're Starfinders, right?
Tasselus looks at God. Is it too difficult?
So, well, this would be a good time to talk about Castrovel a little bit. Tasselus, of course, would know quite a bit about it, considering it's his home planet. Castrovel has 4 continents. Let me actually look at my notes to know the names. There we go. Where are my notes? Fuck's sake.
It's been a while, so I can't name them off the top of my head.
I mean, Cabaret is one of them.
That's the shining jewel. That's like the capital of it. There's like a primary one. There's the Formian one. There's the Elven one, and then there's the Forbidden one that we're going to go to.
Yeah, there's Asana, which is one of the 4 continents that the Lashuntas mostly live on. Pretty much exclusively, really. There's Soverian, which is inhabited by elves. Very, very xenophobic people. And then there are the colonies. Of course, the Formians themselves call the colonies something else, something far grander and very exaggerated usually. But that is inhabited by Formians. Formians are basically, imagine a centaur except it's an ant. They are very, very, autocratic and collectivist. They are pretty much like an ant colony, really. Until very recently, about 30 years ago, they were at war with the Lashuntas. However, Shurans managed to broker a peace that has since then held rather well. And while Formians used to be pretty xenophobic as well, because, well, they couldn't understand other people wanting to be individuals and all that. That has changed since then as well, as all the queens got together and decided, well, outsiders probably don't fall into our societal structure, so they're excluded. And since then, they are actually pretty welcoming to visitors. To the point where there's a lot of corporations that work together with the Formians because they are such amazing workers. They don't give 2 shits about the environment. They make huge mines. They work around the clock. Perfect workers. As long as it benefits the swarm as a whole, they'll probably work it. Well, they'll probably do it. The 4th continent is Ukulam, which none of the 3 major races on Castrovel have claimed. They've all tried to claim it at some point. Maybe even did before the gap, but nobody really knows what the hell happened before the gap. So yeah, at this point, all the 3 major races have basically decided, just none of us goes there. We'll keep it as sort of like an environmental preserve. We'll allow some research outposts there, only with special permission, who can go around, look at the ruins, of which there are many. But that's about it. Other than that, nobody goes to Ukulam. People have tried to map and explore Ukulam from the air in spaceships and stuff, but that has proven to be nearly impossible. The entire landscape occasionally tends to, or seems to, shift. There's magical interference that just throws off sensors completely. So really the only way to explore that place is to do it the old school way, with a large caravan trudging through the jungle.
Are vehicles even allowed there?
Vehicles are not.
Damn. They're what the dream of us buying hover bikes or something.
jungle mobiles.
Maybe we can find some gigantic creature to ride.
Yes.
If there's one thing that Castrovel has many things of, it's gigantic creatures.
Great.
You and me, Red.
Sort of
we're gonna
mammoth dragon saber-tooth thing.
From dinosaurs to massive carnivorous moving plants, Castrovel has many.
Sure, you can ride them too. I mean, they've had some time to domesticate some of them.
Well, not really, no. The main structure of Castrovel is pretty much city-states, usually surrounded by a massive automated weaponry bristling wall. Mostly because they don't want to touch the jungle and forest and whatnot, and also because at this point, it has always worked like this. If they tried to tame the entirety of Castrovel, that would be pretty much impossible. There's just so many huge things. So they just sort of sit in large castle cities, pretty much.
Effectively, you have to walk then.
Yes.
God, I hate walking.
Well, there's one exception. while traveling between the city-states and such works usually via aircraft or spacecraft. There are so-called elf gates all over Castroville, which are magical teleportation devices. Many of those are broken, many of those are unexplored, with nobody really sure where they lead, and everyone who walked into them sort of disappeared. But some of those still exist, connecting some of the continents to each other, as well as just different places in general.
So we could talk to the elves, or we could trek for miles and miles.
I mean,
the elf gates are just called like that. They are not under control of the elves. They're just all over the planet.
Everywhere.
Right.
Some of them you walk in and don't come out, which means there's either something really awesome on the other side or something really bad.
Yeah. Or they didn't make it and they're in some pit of...
between portals forever.
I think that falls under the category of really bad.
Would they live to be able to know that it was really bad? So they just...
I will show you a map of Castroville while we're at it.
Walking, it's gonna be...
Yeah.
Who knows, you might see some interesting things.
We should make billions of credits mapping the Elfgate system. Just grab a satellite with GPS, stick some chips on ourselves, and just walk through and map it all out.
Yeah, but what if you end up, like, in the drift or something?
Ooh, where'd you get that map from?
Look at that spiffy map.
Could be terrible.
Well, it may just be that the second part of the AP has a lot of information.
You motherfucker!
Nice.
No!
Oh, the ocean of mist. Oh.
Ooh. So
We just knew we'd be going to Castroville soon.
where are we going? Like...
Cabaret is right in the center.
Oh, there.
That's that's the hub. Back before the days of spacefaring travel. I was reading through, like, in order to create this character, I went for, like, the old, like, Pathfinder supplements, and it detailed, like, how this world was in, like, fantasy times before, like, space flight, and that was the most powerful of city-states. I still think it is.
Right.
Powerful, I'm not entirely sure. It's definitely the most democratic still. A lot of the other city-states are sort of corporation-run at this point.
And that the Cabaret's just, like, corporation-free still at this point? Or, like, not corporation-free, but, like, its leadership is not, like...
Yeah, its leadership is a bit less autocratic, I guess. Tyrannical.
Great place to go to begin with, since we have someone we need to meet there.
Well, yeah. What... Do we have any clue? Like, is there a region that we're looking at? Or is, like... It's not going to be easy to find it. Obviously.
Well, I mean, it was the colonies, right? You're supposed to go to.
No. Ukulam, which is in the top left corner of that map, like somewhere on that place is where the Halkuim Zan went.
Right.
And that's probably, like, we're going to have to end up there at some point, but in order for us to know the steps and the research, we're going to have to go to a university in Cabaret and get the details.
Yeah.
Fuck it, let's fly over there then.
That'll be exciting, yeah. Victor's into it.
Yeah, I'm into it.
Let's see what there's to see, It's like visiting Tesla's home. The family,
Oh yeah, do we get to see Mama Teslas and Dada Teslas?
Yes, dinner at the Teslas.
Do not ask that question.
Victor wouldn't want to invite you guys home to his parents either. They wouldn't approve, probably.
Hey,
what's wrong with us?
Guns
I'm a nice
and
guy.
stuff,
Hey, my dad is like my kid.
They're pacifists, actually.
Oh,
shit. For a Vesk, I mean.
Yeah, they're
Dude.
Like one was like a farmer, the other was like a doctor or something.
Yeah, a gardener in the central square of the station, and then a doctor who does travels along to places where people don't have money for aid. Does.
I remember Victor's parents. Yay!
You really are like a.
They really wanted him to go to college, so he did, but he
got into wrestling on the side.
He dropped out because of wrestling. They're not into it, really. They think it promotes unhealthy worldviews.
I mean, have you seen the brain scans of those wrestlers after a few years? It's a mess in there.
So I guess then tying into the question I asked about how hard is it to get to Ugalam, the answer is challenging. but perhaps not overly so for members of the Starfinder Society. Particularly, this is a part of the adventure path, and the game wants us to go there.
Yeah.
There's probably some sort of thing we'll need to do to be allowed, though.
It's a matter of if the bureaucracy is on your side, you can probably get permission. But generally, you're forbidden, and it's very hard to get there.
It's going to be an election, and they wanted to find something over there that was lost, you know.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Some sort of fish came up and swallowed the palace. Find it.
Tasselus doesn't have anything to ask, just because. In fact, he's actually going to prematurely excuse himself. He's feeling a bit under the weather. And, leave to go throw up, in a restroom.
Thaddeus is looking forward to setting his feet on some real, terra firma.
It's going to be so exciting. This is the second planet Victor's have been to, and this one is not all desert.
I know, right?
But it will still try to kill you.
It has
so
some
many
desert.
trees. Because this map is so green. It's crazy.
There's
going to be
it's got
fruit you
gravity.
can just eat.
Yeah.
You know? Air you could just breathe.
It's
crazy.
You don't need respirators and
Crazy.
shit. There's no acid air and rain. That
It's
will burn away
round.
your lungs.
He wants to see the rounding of the planet again. That was cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like going to the countryside, really.
It certainly is a whole lot of countryside that also tries to eat you. But usually people focus on the good things. Because it is a very, very pretty place.
To Victor, the spike also has a lot of people who try to eat you. Or metaphorically.
Some not so.
Yeah, the ghoul warren.
Also, one interesting detail I found on this map is this place.
Yeah, I know. I saw it immediately. I was like, hey, that's what Chisk is named after. It's Chisk. City of Chisk. Bet Formians live there, and he would love to go.
Well, this entire continent is full of Formians.
Oh. Look at that.
Perhaps that was the beachhead where the Sheeran brokered peace between the Formians and fucking
You should go, Chisk.
Well, I think we should grab Teslas and go to Cabaret.
Yeah. Is he from Cabaret?
Yes.
Oh, excellent. He can show us around everything. He'll know where things are. That's very useful.
This is the part where Grimmeth will tell you that he wants to go on the adventure, but as it turns out, I have a character that doesn't want to go back to Cabaret.
Thaddeus thinks it'll be a great idea, and he should totally do it.
So this will be the strongest fight and protest Tasselus has put up, as weakened as he is. The idea of we're Starfinders, we're supposed to go out and see the stars, we're gonna leave the solar system, we're gonna go make first contact with things, and first contact is not even remotely on Casterville.
There's a whole continent that's not explored.
We could find
that's pretty new.
For good reason. If the continent has been unexplored for a long time, right?
It's an ancient civilization. It's mystery. It's temples.
They could have They could have unknown.
Damn. That spike thing on his butt is really.
They could have unknown workout techniques, man. You never know.
I don't want to mess with Formians, guys.
They are medium size, according to.
I don't want to deal with those.
What a hideous creature!
He looks pretty. I don't need that in life.
I don't know.
What could this planet have that's worse than that?
All right, I'm going on a ship.
Yeah, I suppose to our benefit, really, it might be that Tessalus falls asleep, in his dread, and just maybe has a few more drinks when he goes home.
Tasselus is going to be taking the full advantage of the 2 other days we will be known to help him forget that he is going to go back to Casterville.
Then one morning he wakes, what am I gonna ask people for today? I had this thing, and then he finds out the ship is in the drift. And,
he looks out the porthole, like, what?
Was that today?
That's probably going to be it. Wait, what? I thought I had time.
Well, I had another day. I mean, I had plans.
I was gonna go out to lunch.
It will be with severe reluctance that he will return home.
I mean, he couldn't let Victor go and get eaten there by himself, you know.
That sounds like a personal problem for Victor.
Oh. You know where you stand now.
When it comes back to going home, yes.
Well then. With Tasselus strapped in the back.
What the hell is Pai? Did Paizo look at our character sheets like, what the hell is this?
Let's not skedaddle just yet, though, because I do have more shopping.
Well, I mean, we've got
we
2
had,
days.
like, 2 days of being
Oh,
famous.
there are
if
2
nothing
days?
else.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna go and be seen.
Like, I imagine that this, like, next session next year is going to pick up with us, like, traveling to Casterville.
Yes, I think so. So with your future looming ahead of you, if you have shopping still to do, you can do that.
What a morbid thing.
What I would like to do is, instead of the vocal modulator, actually, I want to get, what the fuck was it called? A gill sheath so I can breathe in the water, and a venom spur so I have a stinger in my hand.
These are all just.
Those are biotech augments. Yes, I think I'm going to go the route of super augmented bounty hunter. Like, he's got a built-in gadget for everything.
Sure.
Not even a gadget, but just like a part of his body, like some
Yeah,
sort of...
like my hand is like my top. No, I'm trying to decide which hand I want it in specifically, because I have several. But yeah, no, there's like a stinger that poisons people.
Don't shake that hand.
I didn't think my character would have to confront Castro.
It's retractable.
You wrote all that backstory about how everyone hates you, and now...
Not everyone hates me, I just didn't think it would come.
A lot of people hate.
I didn't think it would come back to bite you at all.
I do think I remember mentioning that the adventure path is sort of designed to take you around some of the more interesting places in the pack world. And Casterville is very interesting.
I guess.
I agree there.
Son of a bitch.
I mean, Paizo made it before they even had space stuff, so...
Yeah.
Clearly into it.
I did pull like reference material out. Oh no! I'm looking at like my character's backstory, going, oh no, no.
It's always a good sign.
Kind of dig that dragon gland.
Yeah, I actually really liked the look of it.
I wanted to get one, but I didn't feel like paying for it. Like it's
discount dragon gland.
Yeah, well, it's one thing. I can technically afford it if I borrow 9 credits from someone, but then I can't get my poison stinger and my gills.
I think Tasselus' refraining complaint here is going to be like, we're supposed to be Starfinders. We're not fighting anything. We just kill thugs. Go to the drift.
I want those wide spectrum ocular implants.
Is
too.
like the bio stuff available for us to purchase?
Sure.
Because
As
that
long as it's
dragon
within our
does
level
look
requirement.
kind of sexy, and I do have just money for it. I'll have two credits after.
Yeah,
but,
I'm down to 26.
It's hard to go against having Victor spew fire. It seems like he would really enhance his character.
Yeah. You know, he does have that dragon look to him.
Can't really.
Yeah, I give it some pretty cool look to it.
No, like electricity would be better probably, but fire though.
I was like, just Tasselus opens his mouth, breathes acid, and I was like,
Meanwhile, I've got like a clip of adamantine bullets and a clip of cold iron bullets and a clip of silver bullets.
Electricity? No, it has to be fire. It just fits with the red theme, you know?
Well, you could have red electricity.
Red acid. Yeah.
Oh,
Where-
red
where
acid.
did you-
Cool. And it's still a cone, even if it's acid. So you just
Yeah,
like,
but it's also like
What was
okay,
your-
I can in wrestling matches like jump back and spew fire on the ground or something, but spewing acid, that's just like a little bit.
Yeah.
yeah,
that's
you're
a little too
melting the
far,
state.
you know?
Yeah.
You were saying
Halldamir.
something, Sheep?
Yeah, Halldamir, where did you see the rules for the special materials for ammo?
Hang on a second.
It's I was looking at it too. It's right in with
Page 191 for special materials.
There you go.
Thank you. Okay.
I've got them written down on my sheet in one of the tabs.
I can't upgrade my spear for a few more levels. I'm distraught.
I will
Tell me
stick
about it,
a
I
wormling
can't.
dragon gland into my throat.
Have you seen the second?
We can go to the same
sniper
doctor.
rifle.
Yeah, we can have it like together while holding hands.
No, Halldamir,
Yeah.
I have not looked at it.
I'll
The
get my
second one is
gills and you
level
can get
8.
your fire gland.
I can spew fire.
Level 8, damn it.
Once per rest.
God damn.
I'm
But
trying
it's
to
double the
decide.
damage.
I still need to.
And 4 rounds.
Yeah, it'll be
instead
my
of 4.
lower left hand that gets the venom spur.
It's just oddly specific.
Well, it
Well,
does
you-
matter
you-
though, because
you-
like
you
can't
do
be
have to be
holding something in
specific.
that hand.
I know, it's just so odd. No,
You have
oddly
to. You can't
specific.
hold something in that hand if you want to use it.
Well, I mean, he's got 4 hands, Halldamir. He has to
Yeah.
be specific, right?
I know,
My
but
top
it's just-
arms are for my rifle, and my lower right hand is for my.
It's just not every day
Lower
you
one.
hear someone say, I think my spur is going to be in my lower left hand.
This is true.
It's a
Engage.
bit odd.
Do you hear about spurs going in any hands?
I mean, he might be a
No,
platypus, I guess. Don't
Could
they
be
have like
platypus.
Don't they have like
Yeah,
a spur thing?
Yeah. One of their back
Yeah.
toes is like.
Oh, I thought it was in the front. Oh well.
Is
Is
there
it in the front or is it
anyone
in the
else who
back?
tries to call us or get a hold of us, Sheep?
No.
Of merit other than folks who want to, like, see fame.
No.
Okay.
The frequency of like fan mail and messages
Dies off horribly.
will diminish rather drastically
Yes.
over those 3 days.
Yes,
Thank
they'll,
God.
they'll go to the next big thing, and Tilo 7 will no longer have to be confused.
Yes, thank goodness.
So I'm used to like 5th edition numbers where like 19 AC is pretty fucking good, and then I looked at like some of the level 20 armor that's like plus
Yeah,
26.
remember you're back in Pathfinder now, so
God.
19 is nothing. You need up to like 29 now. We're
89.
That's
52 or whatever the wizard had in Wicked. I mean,
I mean, as you can see, I'm not even going to bother with that armor class raise. Just stay at 11 and 12.
we've got
That's
to
right.
eat as
Try
much of it
in
as
case I get
possible. I've been
stabbed.
licked by enough undead things at this
no,
point.
I've been hit a few times
Yeah.
as well. I don't like it.
I just moused over, like, all of your tokens. Yeah, I'm definitely the easy one. It's not
But
even
you're
close.
also, but looking at the group in a battle, you're also the least threatening. Probably everyone is looking
I'm
at us and be
wielding
like,
a
"Nah,
spear."
he's like
Yeah.
whatever. Look at him. He's not gonna do."
You know,
anything."
he's like, yeah, while we're like stabbing them and like spewing fire and. Yeah.
He's like, "Go team!"
Then I pull out the grenades. My level 3 feat was quick draw. Like, as part of, like, my attacks, I can casually pull them out and throw them.
That said, we do have 2 detonators. Why don't you take those?
Sure, I don't even know specifically what the hell those are.
You use engineering skills to rig explosives up with them.
you
to set
you
them
do
outside.
not want to give those to Teslas.
Who knows engineering? Because I don't.
Give one to Tellus, give one to Thaddeus.
Tell us is the engineering dude.
Yeah,
Just put it on your
yeah,
character sheet because I'll be leading it from here.
Yeah, Telos and Thaddeus each have one in case the worst happens.
Sure, detonator. You get one each. Anyone need an engineering kit?
I mean, I can take a spare one.
Sure, take a spare one.
Alright, wonderful.
Yeah, because
Those
you
have a
can't
fire
technically.
extinguisher.
If you try to do engineering checks without a toolkit, you actually take a -2.
Yes.
A fire extinguisher, anyone? I can keep it.
You
I mean,
keep
I
that.
think
It's good for your fire breath if you need to put something out.
They're I like that, yeah. Like, I'm
we got
sorry, I'm
a-
sorry.
So terribly sorry.
A disruptive weapon fusion, which is level 3, so you need a level 3 weapon to use it.
Do I have a level 3 weapon?
Which I don't
can
have.
hang on to it because I can use my mysticism to install it on somebody's weapon later if we get weapons.
Yeah, let's keep that around for now.
Disruptive.
Well,
Imbues a weapon with powerful positive energy designed to disrupt the magical forces that allow undead to exist. Which allows the weapon to ignore any DR and energy resistance of undead creatures. Only weapons that deal bludgeoning damage can benefit from this fusion.
We have no level 3 bludgeoning weapon, I don't think, so...
No.
So far we haven't been able to apply to anything. But if you think you can use it...
it's better to sell
Well,
it.
anybody can use it, I just would have... I mean, we'd have to go somewhere to install it, or I could install it.
I wanted to know if you put it on your character sheet, because then I'll have to...
Oh, yeah, a disruptive weapon fusion?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can hang on to it.
Alright.
Does it have bulk or anything?
No, it's just like a thing. We can put it on a weapon. Yes.
Okay.
We got 2 spell amps of lesser restoration, which I would honestly not mind having, but Tessalus might also be a good target for those.
I can hold on to them and put them on my character sheet.
Sure. I'll get rid of those then. I also have another thing that I think you would make the most use of, which is we have 3 med patches. Which is you do like a medical check to heal someone with them.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I'm the best person for that. Other folks should hold on to them in case something happens to me. You folks need to med patch yourselves.
I can heal onto them. I have a bunch of healing stuff at this point.
Sounds good.
Alright.
Let me check. Like, I had looked at med patches. They are very inexpensive. And I can provide a bit more detail.
But it just doesn't make sense to sell this stuff. Like, it's just
No, at 10%, obviously. So yes, a med patch is a simple, all-in-one disposable medical device, which can be slapped onto a wound or area of concern, like a clearly diseased or poisoned section of the body, with little skill required. If you use a med patch, you can attempt a medicine check untrained with a plus 10 bonus, circumstance bonus. But only for first aid, long-term stability, treat disease, and treat drugs or poison. So if you didn't have me in the party, and you saw your arm bubbling and oozing with void death, fuck that! Slap a med patch on it. So yes, my character, being that he is carrying around a med kit and does have medicine, is the person who should not really be carrying them around.
Sure. Alright.
You could give a med patch to Madar, a med patch to Thaddeus, and a med patch to yourself.
Sure. Thaddeus, Madar?
Yeah, I'm down.
Sure.
Take a med patch each, then.
They have a bulk of light.
Yeah.
I'd get an advanced med kit, but that costs 2,700 credits. It's also out of my level range at level 5.
That's many credits for us. I wonder what that is under. I'm trying to find the...
It would probably be a miscellaneous item.
A med patch?
I don't see it in here.
Maybe a tech. It's a tech item.
It's a tech item.
Okay. Excellent.
Anything else you need to kick off the list, Medica?
No, that's everything.
Okay.
Weapon fusions are not in here, but armor upgrades are.
Weapon fusion, probably supposed to be put on a weapon.
Yeah, you would just slap that on your weapon.
Yeah,
like,
well,
rather than,
just...
We don't have a bludgeoning
as
weapon.
an inventory item, I mean.
Yeah.
So,
you just have to, like, type it in or something. Like, other wealth.
Just deal with the invalid input must fall. Little orange triangle.
I have done my Starfinder badge, too.
Yeah.
I did invalid things to put down the antitoxin fruit and the units of UPB that did not equal 1,000.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I have to fucking put my batteries on here, too, because this way, don't they?
Well, if there's any positive news besides my character knowing the planet, my languages that I picked for, like, my extra stuff come from there. Elven, if we have to deal with that shit, and Terran, if we have to deal with any Formians.
That's good.
Right.
Nice.
Which, Tassless would probably just rather kill Formians on sight, but They're really scary.
I mean, we can talk to them first, and if they're rude, we can start killing them.
I mean, if we're in the unknown continent, then I suppose we have a lot more freedom for that sort of thing. But I wouldn't just in the city. I mean,
well, I mean, hopefully we don't end up in the Formian hives. Otherwise, Tassless will really have a bad day. Not okay with insect people.
Yeah.
So he's 30 years old, and he was born right as the war ended. So he's the first generation. So he heard all of the people all the older people talking about how terrible the Formians are, and so it just imbued in him.
I mean, I don't know much of it, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to be convinced of these hideous insect creatures being dangerous.
Well, I mean, before the peace was brokered 30 years ago, I don't even know how long I think the Lashunta and Formians may have been fighting since before the gap. I don't even know how far back it goes.
No one remembers, so I mean, they just assume so.
Yeah.
No one literally remembers, except for maybe the elf.
Man, it's awkward when they discover they made peace during the gap, but then everyone forgot.
Yeah.
The story with the Formians that basically every Lashunta would know. Initially, the Formians fought each other, a lot, constantly, the different hives. But then they sort of said, hey, you know what would be best for all of us? If we just made peace. And so, since they didn't fight each other anymore, they started fighting everyone else on the planet. Let's see. I'm pretty sure this war has indeed lasted since before the gap, and it was eventually the Shirin who managed to show up and broker peace.
How convenient, another insect-like species. Yeah, you can trust that.
Guess whose side they took.
They made peace between the Vesk and the worlds too, so...
I'm glad their obsession
really
over free will and little choices leads them to brokering peace.
You could not fight. And we're oh, never thought of that.
Holy shit.
What if we didn't?
Also the
Vesk going, oh shit, these insect people, man, we need to ally up to.
Also, the colonies for the continent is only the name that outsiders give it. The Formians themselves call it a few different names, such as the Everlasting Queendoms, the Unified Hive, or my favorite one, the Glorious and Undeniable Dominion of all beneath moon and soil.
Well, that's
that's
definitive.
Undeniable. I mean, it says it right there.
Yeah, it's undeniable.
The Strait of Glory.
Oh, on those
the Snow Salt Sea.
I'm falling asleep.
Broken Mines. I want to live there.
Halldamir, sleepy time for Halldamir. Perhaps sleepy time for everyone. One final note, I suppose, in the month-long absence we'll have between sessions, consider gear for a warmer planet. Castorville is a warm planet.
And also,
I've got a Vesk mammal on me.
Imagine perhaps the worst jungle possible. Turn that up to 11 and prepare for that.
It's a 40k
and Titanic
death
life
world.
forms. Yes.
How would Victor? He's lived in a very sterile environment, climate control. Never experienced seasons. Never experienced really. He's seen plants, but they're all very neatly tended to.
Never been cold.
Well, you are biologically advantaged in warmer weather, right? Are you cold-blooded, or are Vesk warm-blooded?
I have no idea. It doesn't say. There's no benefit that's cold-blooded.
Right, no mechanical benefit.
I imagine
but at least you'll
not,
feel
given
better.
that they fight so much.
I guess, when will our next session be? Will it be the 5th of next month?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless I tell you otherwise, it'll be the 5th. It should be the 5th.
Alright. A 4-week break, everyone.
Yeah. We're going on a month break.
I look forward to who does the recap next session.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna fucking write that shit down right now in case.
Wonder why I did the recap today.
We still.
I did the recap last time.
We still have. It seems like it's gonna be me then. It's gonna be great.
I believe in you.
Oh, So, yeah, we are putting Starfinder on hold until next year. And then we are going to be back. We are going to have Out of the Abyss tomorrow, and I think next week.
I mean, unless everyone's gone.
Alright. So there's Out of the Abyss tomorrow and probably next week, and then that's on hold until next year. Because holidays and New Year's are coming up. And Halldamir needs to shake his booty.
I hear that.
I do?
Yeah. Shake, shake, shake.
Yep,
When did that happen?
Wait, what?
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 I mean, what do you think's going to happen when there's no Starfinder? I mean,
Yes. It's gonna be booty
something's going to
shaking.
be on.
Okay.
The voice of someone who is leaving immediately. Alright, so that's it. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Starfinder will resume next year. And if you're only watching Starfinder for some reason, see you next year. But if you're also hanging out tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Happy New Year to everyone joining us for only for
If you miss us too
Starfinder.
much, we have quite a backlog.
There's quite a backlog.
We have. Oh, I wonder how many hours it is at this point.
You
Like
could probably
total
watch
backlog.
right
What
until
if we're
the new
including
year.
Age of Darkness sessions?
It is a lot.
Right
Well, Age
till
of
the new
Darkness,
year.
Age of Darkness, you can't access anymore. Those are
No, it
more or less
sucks,
gone
too.
forever.
It's gone.
I had a Google Doc of
But,
links to the VODs for every session, but then they all got
Yeah,
pulled.
they're sold now.
But if you go back to the Summer of Fun, the first one, if you start there, you have a bit. I think you'll be fine.
You would have to go to my channel to find the original
Yeah.
Summer of Fun.
Yes.
Enter sheep, as it were.
Yes, that's where sheep shows up.
First introduction of sheep.
I remember when his damn gnome shot between my characters' legs.
And put up a lot of weird traps in his room for no apparent reason, other than he could, I suppose.
Oh, that was pretty great though.
Gnomes, man, gnomes. I remember
yeah.
stealing a turkey leg and running away with it.
And then Elvin got shot, and I turned invisible, and everyone was like, "What?"
What?
Summer Fun is a good
Yeah,
one.
that was the thing I did. I turned invisible.
There's goblins singing. There's invisible gnomes. There's
there
stealing
was-
of turkey legs and a screaming scarecrow.
And Swedish,
great.
I believe.
And Swedish. It's true.
Fucking Swedish. Get some sleep, Halldamir. Take care.
Yeah.
Shut up, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.